we have someone with us here. So thank you for our first listener. We're glad to have you.
Hello? Hello, 1984. Those were some good years, the 80s. I had a good time in the 80s. I was young.
Oh, you did.
Ooh, I was strong. I was looking good.
I was still a kid at the.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
so.
Strong bones
Yeah.
and joints and all that. Hey, Groove Buddha, what's up? Happy Saturday, my friend.
But you still look amazing. Don't give us that. We those who know you look gorgeous. And for those who don't know her, she looks gorgeous, by the way.
Clap up the room for Mama Higgs. Woo woo. Mama
Yeah.
Well,
I'm so
thank you for that.
I'm so happy. And I want to begin by apologizing for those who were expecting us last week. We had to cancel for a reason. Um but we probably were trying to get a lot of like re-energized for today sort of.
Yes. Yeah.
So
That
yeah.
was my bad. I had some scheduling conflicts with work. And yeah, I
No,
don't mean
it's
I
fine.
don't like to
It's
disappoint anybody, but
no,
yeah,
it's
that was
fine. It's good.
yeah,
It's good. It gave
it
us
was
it gave us
life.
an opportunity to kind of chill out and kind of
Right.
re-energize. So it's
Regroup,
fine.
yeah. Right. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
we've got a voice note.
Yeah.
From
Play,
our
play,
good friend
play.
Huey.
Hey, Mama, do I have some crazy news of karma in complete action? And karma definitely letting me peek behind the curtain and letting me know that the path that I'm walking is truly the path I belong on. Insane
That's
shit.
awesome.
But again, what's up? Here to support you.
What's up?
Love you, miss you,
Thank you.
and I'll be listening. All right, baby.
You know what? Real quick,
Oh,
before we start the
yeah.
show, I just want to say to Groove Buddha, um, it's. I'm glad you're here today. Super glad, and it's that is the universe. Because I literally was thinking about him like yesterday or the day before, and I was like, huh. I haven't talked to Groove Buddha in a while. I hope he's doing okay. And then here he is on our show today, popping in to say everything's all good and
That's
yeah,
good.
it's amazing.
Good.
The universe and God works in very mysterious, sometimes delightful ways. Sometimes.
For me,
So
all the
thank
time.
yeah,
God good all the time.
all the
But
time,
I,
all the time. God is good. Thank you, Buddha. I'm
I'm,
glad you're
I'm
here. Thank you.
I'm happy.
We'll
I'm
talk
happy that
soon.
you. I'm happy that we have them here with us, and
Do you want to
I'm
put the
happy that
title in for the show? Did you do that, or because
yeah,
I can't see?
I'm gonna do that while we'll do the intro.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what happens with the stereo thingy, and I booked the show yesterday. I told you, and
Yeah.
for some reason I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
because
know.
Stereo called me at 11:30 last night. And I was like, "No, it's not the right time, Stereo. You're mistaken. You are mistaken." But that's
All
okay.
right.
We get it. We eventually get it together. And while you're putting
Uh,
the show
yeah.
title in, I just want to, as always, shout out to my grandma Waters. I love her. She's going to be 98 July 1st. So
Ooh.
coming up in a couple weeks, yeah. And she's the Energizer Bunny. But I also want to say a very heartfelt thank you to everybody who sends in their questions and spends time listening to the show, and who also sends in messages to you of support for us. And we really appreciate you guys. And it's not easy to share a piece of your life sometimes with complete strangers. So we appreciate your trust, and I thank you very much for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Really. And just something I want to tell you. I wanted to find out, not actually to tell you, but find out. Um, you know, what satisfaction do you get every time you finish the show and you get back? I don't know. I just want to kind of confirm. Do you get any sort of
Okay.
satisfaction when you go back when you finish the show every single Saturday and you're like, I'm done. What's the feeling like?
I, honest to God, like after I'm done with the show, I feel really good. I feel like I've accomplished something important. I feel like I feel like there's definitely going to be at least one person out there who my words will make sense to and kind of touch and maybe help them or heal them. And I feel just an overall sense of well-being and just like really pleased. And grateful, gratitude, especially for all of it, for people listening, for you asking me to do the show originally, for us being able to continue with it, week after week, every Saturday. So, but I always come away, I don't feel, it's always positive. It's always a positive feeling after the show. So,
yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that you feel the same way, because that's what I feel every time I finish, and not only that, when people get to listen to it afterwards and get to like relate to what we say and be able to kind of feel the from the depth of our heart, they feel what we feel, and it helps them in some way, and I'm happy that that's happening.
Yes,
yeah,
no sugarcoating, just
I'm telling you.
facts and our honest opinions and feelings. It's in black and white, no gray areas. You're going to get the honest truth from both of us. And that's why, you and I are actually friends, and we actually care about each other. And that's why I think, we have such good conversation and can riff off each other. So that's important too.
Yeah. Very, very, very important, and that kind of gives us the energy that we need to kind of do this. And yeah, that's really nice to hear. And while we're doing this, if you have a question, you can always pop in and ask. If you want to make a contribution, you are always welcome to do so. And yeah, you ready?
Yeah, absolutely. Don't. Anybody rolling through or scrolling through stereo, if you pop in, feel free to ask a question or leave a comment. Yeah, absolutely. We're always open to that.
All right. Having said all that, we'll just go straight into the question. We have one from a guy who says this. My brother stole a lot of money from me. I got very upset. I said a lot of things, some of which I regret. But in the heat of the moment, I reacted. I almost lost my house as a result of the fact that he stole the money. I had health problems as a result of blood pressure issues. And I think that's linked to the money that was stolen. And he didn't think he did anything wrong. We have not talked for 4 years, and he's my only sibling, and I think I want to reach out, or am open if he does. So, like, he's gotten to a point where he's thinking, should I reach out? Or even if he does, I'm open to it, So how do I do this?
Okay. Before we get into how he rekindles this relationship with his brother, it just seems to me from that question that his brother is a toxic, manipulative person. Now, he stole money from you and almost caused you to lose your home. And as a result, it puts you in a terrible strain. It puts a terrible strain on your health. Like, those situations, oh my God. First of all, I do not feel bad or regret the things that you said. First of all, that's some of those things honestly probably needed to be said, and he probably needed to hear. You know what I mean? But we all have been in a position where we get into a conflict and we end up saying some things because you're that adrenaline, the hurt feelings, the anger. So don't feel regret about those things that you said. I mean, it's in the past. You can't take them back. That situation happened, and there is nothing you could do about that situation. So stop beating yourself up about the words you said to your brother, because you'll only cause yourself more stress and more health problems doing that. Okay, now, oh gosh, this is so, like, honestly, I can feel his pain on this one, because I have 2 sisters, and my one sister I haven't spoken to in, I think, 7 years. And Zeno, you and I talked about, really quickly, my sister is in the house that I used to live in, I raised my kids in, and my parents decided to help her out because she was going through a divorce and told me and my youngest daughter to leave. And after 10 years of paying the mortgage. So, it just, a lot of underhanded behind, hypocritical, underhanded things went on. I don't have a relationship with my sister, but the thing is that if you decide that the person, your sibling, is toxic and harming you, I mean, why would you want to rekindle a relationship with somebody who would put you at risk for your health and that? Like, and that's another thing. Like, when we have these things that happen in our lives, like, our minds are so complex that we sometimes forget over time, like, the actual situation, like, we start romanticizing, like, the memories, of how we grew up, or, our brains just alter these facts, and sometimes these memories become watered down versions of the actual truth, right? And what your brother did was wrong, hurtful, and an incredible betrayal. And I can understand your desire to want to rekindle something with him, with him being your only sibling. For me, if it were me, I wouldn't. Like, if you were a friend of mine and I'm talking to you like a friend, I would say, like, don't. Why put yourself in a position to be used and abused again? Just because he's your brother, just because. See, listen, my grandma, who I always do shout outs to, my grandma Waters, she's always telling me this such amazing advice. And she always told me, titles mean nothing. Mother, brother, father, sister. It's how you are treated that matters. And loyalty is everything. Now, it sounds like he is a very selfish and untrustworthy, lying, toxic person. So you have to ask yourself, why do you want someone like that to be around you? If he wasn't your brother and you just worked with this guy, would you keep him around as a friend? I know I wouldn't, I mean, it is important. I think it's so important, especially as we get older, to surround ourselves with supportive, helpful, reliable people that we can trust, because, life kicks us enough. We get harmed enough by complete strangers, so I know it's an actual I don't know, people like your brother. I just think, I know people have family members like that have figured out, they're very manipulative, and they figured out a long time ago that, like, the decent, honest people in their lives will go to extraordinary lengths to please them and to help them. And so that makes their manipulation game is very strong. That they see it, they know it. And you are feeling sad and you miss them, and that's understandable. It's a relationship. You have those memories. But for me, I just surround myself with people that I know I can trust and that have my best interest at heart. It sounds like, go ahead. At this point, I do have some advice for this person if he does decide to rekindle the relationship, but let's stop right here. And what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I think that was the part I was leaning more towards, the second part of what you want to say, because I think that at some point, personally, I'm pretty, soft and hardened. Some people say, hey, Zeno, you act strong, but you're actually very soft. And I say, no, not really. It's just that fact that sometimes I feel the need to turn the page,
Right.
What he did was horrible. What the guy did was horrible. And in every family, I've noticed, I don't know, maybe there are exceptions to the rule, but in every family, there is this one person who goes right when everybody is going left. Or
amen to that, brother. Amen to that.
When everybody's going right. So there's always this one person that, I don't want to call that person the black sheep of the family, but there's always this one person.
But in my family. We were all thinking it.
He's in every family. So there are times where you must, especially when these people are consistent in their habit of causing pain and frustration and all of that.
Right.
There are times you have to make some very hard decisions, and the decision sometimes is to preserve your sanity and also to keep a level, of not there's something that's bad, but to stop something bad getting worse, you just kind of keep your distance. So it's just there. We know it's there. We know we're siblings, but just stay where you are and I stay where I am, and then everybody's good.
Right.
We all have our sanity. However, there are moments where it's just natural for it's just natural sometimes to think about your sibling and try like, could this happen different? Is there a way I could get this? Those thoughts just show up. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to act on them, but they show up.
Right.
And then you sit down and you're thinking, this person really hurt me, and he really did this and did that and did this, and it's more difficult for you when the person is trying to reach out, because just as much as because as you grow, you're getting older, you're getting wiser, and for some
Hopefully.
people, hopefully, for some people, they get into think, oh, I really did something that was really wrong, or something that was bad, and maybe I should just get past it. Let me give you a very practical example. This is an example of something that I ran into today. Yeah, it has nothing to do with siblings though, but it had something to do with two superstars in Nigeria. They were music stars. They are music stars, and one of them actually sang a song. It's a long story, but one of them actually ended up singing somebody else's song. And so the other person reached out and said, hey, that song that you put out is my song, and all of that. And they had, ladies, you guys are a very wonderful set of people. But then they had this whole...
I was hoping you would say that.
It's just that, because one of them called the other person and said, hey, this is it, that kind of thing. And then this thing just ended up blowing the thing out of proportion. And then they had these songs and songs that are dissing the other person and stuff like that. They just kind of blow the thing out of proportion. Years had passed. This happened sometime before 2019. It's a couple of years have passed, and then guess what? Both of them ended up in a beauty parlor. Like they were one was making her hair, the other one wanted to do same thing but they ended up being in the same room for the first time since that, beef. And one of them, whose song was stolen, wanted to kind of like say hi to the other one. And so, walked up to the other one to say hi. And, just because she was like, I've got to be the matured one here, and we're in the same place, and people are going to be looking at us and like expecting somebody to act matured. And so she walked up to the other one to say hi, to reach out. And the other one kind of just like, you think I will forget what you did 3-4 years ago? No. And then it ended up in a brawl or something. But the idea here I'm trying to bring out is what happens, and that's why I want you to kind of come in. What happens when the other person is the one reaching out? Like, he was the one that hurt you. Yeah. He was the one that did all that. Right. It is really bad. It hurt you so bad, but time has passed. Things have happened in the meanwhile. Is there a possibility? And there's a question. Is there a possibility that other person would have seen life a little bit differently and would have kind of like said, okay, I want to reach out to this to my sister or to my brother, and I want to make things right, and and then he's trying to reach out. So what do you do on your own part?
Well, this is the issue, because what I was going to say is like toxic manipulators will never apologize, and they will lie, they twist the stories, they change things to fit their narrative, right? And but this sibling is the one that was harmed, the one that was put upon, is the one that wants to reach out. And it seems to be that more often than not, that's typically what happens. It's always the one that gets the hurt that wants to repair the relationship, or let's say turn the other cheek. And this in this case, I would have to say, like, if you are feeling so nostalgic and feeling so melancholy or sad that you really miss your brother being in your life, there are ways that you could take steps to do that, but so that you don't end up getting hurt again. But first and foremost, I would definitely see if the brother has in 4 years made any attempts to better himself, like talking to other family members. Like, this brother could talk to other family members or friends of his to say, hey, yeah, you know, he's really remorseful. He's doing volunteer work. You know, he goes to or he started meditating church. He's really taking steps to better himself. Like, he feels bad, and he, you know, something like that. Or he wrote articles about, you know, trying, you know, just anything in self-improvement. But if this person has not elevated himself in any way, and you just want to, I think it would just be stepping right back into the same roles and that same situation. And I don't think that would be healthy for this person to do that again. And also, you don't need an apology from somebody in order to move forward. Okay. It's nice, but not all, we don't always get what we want. We don't always get an apology from the people that have wronged us, you know, but it is possible to move forward. You just move forward without them. But now, if he is going to rekindle this relationship, he could do things like, well, first of all, I would, if it were me and I were going to take steps to do this, I would pick up a phone and I would call this person, right? And there are certain ways you could start the conversation where it would kind of ease you into having the talk or getting together and start reestablishing the foundation. Like, you call them and say, I know we haven't had any contact for a long time, but I'd like to change that. Or you could say, you know, I'm sure hearing from me is a bit of a surprise, but, you know, I was hoping that we could talk, or maybe we could meet for coffee, you know? So at least establish something to get the conversation going, if the other brother is open to that.
You know, can I say something?
Yeah.
You know, I will not, in as much as that would be a very, I would have said a romantic idea, but it's not, romantic is not the word for it, but that would be a very lovely idea, but I would not reach out. You know, I have the notion, and this where I'm a bit weird, yeah, but I believe that the other person who did the wrong thing and did the hurt and stuff, that person should be the one reaching out, not me. I'm not going to be reaching out to you.
You and I are on the same page, but this person's question is, I want to reach out. How do I do that? That's why
don't reach out. If you ask me, I would say just don't reach out. Just chill.
Don't do it.
When he's don't do it. If he's tired of his because he's got to get to a point, and I've said this a lot of times, that everybody, you know, a person only changes when he gets to that point, or when he gets to himself and then realizes that, hey, I need this change. That's when he changes. Somebody's got to get to himself and say, hey, I did something that was wrong, and reach out. Now, if he does reach out, let me tell you a very personal example. Yeah, I actually scolded my
coffee. Keep talking.
Cool. I actually scolded my brother for doing something that was really bad, and he got upset and wouldn't talk to anybody. In fact, he wouldn't talk to my sister. He wouldn't talk to my older sister. He wouldn't talk to me. and my mom called me like, Zeno, you're the eldest. You're supposed to get everybody together. You're supposed to yeah, you're supposed to be the one to draw people together.
Right.
You know, that kind of thing. I'm like, pick up the phone and call him, even if he doesn't call you. And I said, no, I am not calling him if he doesn't pick up the phone and call me. Now, if he calls me, I'm going to answer the call. I'm going to straighten up things, and I'm going to be receptive. I'm going to forget in fact, I'm not even going to bring up what happened, because I have forgiven him and it's gone. But he has to pick up the call at the phone and make that call. If he doesn't make that call, I'm not going to pick up the phone and then make the call myself.
And put yourself in a position to get kicked again. Right.
Yeah, because it's like you're forcing yourself on people. I don't like imposing myself on people. That's one gift I try to develop over time. I don't like imposing myself on people. And that's a lot of reason why if you don't invite me for a party, I don't show up. I'm not one of those persons that will like, we're heading somewhere and then you come to me and like, Zeno, there's a friend of ours who has a party and I'm going. Do you want to come? I'm not going to join you.
No.
I'm not going to just go for it. I'm telling you, I'm not just going to go for a party because everybody's going. If I'm not invited, I'm not going, because we have a saying in Africa that if you're not invited for a party and you go, if you break something, you're going to pay. So,
but you know what they say here in America, Zeno? They say here in America, it's not a party till something gets broken. Okay.
Yeah, but then if you weren't invited and you were the one that did the breaking, you're gonna pay.
Yeah. So, no, I got you. And here's you and I are in agreement with this. Like I feel the same way, because I haven't spoken to my sister in it's 7 years. And the thing is because I know she's of the same mindset. I know she was the one that harmed me over and over again and did things behind my back and ultimately caused me health issues, and how I was actually made homeless at some point with my youngest daughter and had to hurry up and find a spot, and just a whole horrible bunch of like, you know, an avalanche of just crap after what happened. But I know that she has not changed. I know my mom would say to me, you know, well, maybe you could, no, maybe nothing. Like, she should call me. Well,
that's
why
the
do
point.
I always have to be the one to, I didn't harm anybody, but I have to be the one to always reach out and mend the fence? No, I'm going to protect my emotions, my spirit, my health, my mind. But what I'm saying is here, if this person is hell-bent on rekindling his relationship, there is a way to do it to still protect himself so he doesn't get, I mean, he has to really pay attention to the words that his brother is saying. And if he gets the idea or if he gets the intuition that his brother is still stuck on stupid, then cut the ties and move on, and don't feel bad about it. Don't look back. Surround yourself with people who will care about you. But I mean, as far as giving him options of how to restart that, he could start by easing into it with just text or a phone call, like, hey, long time no talk, I was hoping we could get together. But he's got to also be clear about why he wants to reestablish this contact, like if it's for family gatherings or to become friends or a means of support. But I think this person shouldn't delude himself into thinking that it's all going to be a-okay, hunky-dory. Like, I think you have to also be mindful and prepare yourself for all different outcomes. So I think this person, if he's going to start this relationship with his brother, which I do not recommend, I say run for the hills and let it just be. You know, you have your memories, and let him do his thing and you keep doing your thing. But if you are set on going back and having some sort of relationship with, you know, at least write down what you want to say. Be prepared for all the outcomes that you can think of. Because also at the end of the day, you can plan what you want to say, and you can think, well, your brother, no matter how good your intentions are, you can't force your brother to do what you want. So he might just say, I don't know, go to hell, Bill. Like, I'm good without you. Like, I don't need your relation. I don't need a relationship with you. You have to be mentally prepared to hear that too.
And to avoid hearing that, because that will be a kick in the you know where, and you know to avoid to avoid that, please just kind of, you know, listen, on your own end, forgive him. You know, be sure that you're free from some guilt of unforgiveness. So therefore, forgive this guy truly. Like while I'm saying don't reconnect, I'm saying forgive him truly and be open to any form of reconnection if it happens. That's my own point. You know, forgive him, let go of the hurt, you know, let it go, and then be open to some form of reconnection if it happens. Be open to it, let the person know, especially when you get a call, or when the person says hi, you should be able to say, oh, you know, do not say like the person tries to reach out and then you throw it in the person's face, you know.
Right.
Don't do that. So just be open to that. You know, the only way you can be open to that is if you say to yourself, I forgive this guy, no matter what he's done, I forgive him. And you know, when people steal from me, you know what I say to myself? I say it's a seed. I just see it as a seed. When people scam or dupe or steal, it's difficult to do that, but when they do, when they do,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult to scam me because anytime money's leaving my pocket, I try to be I do a lot of thinking. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
But the whole idea is,
you know, it depends on everybody's situation is different. But like what you said is very important too, the forgiveness aspect of it. But you don't have to have a relationship with that person that harmed you in order to forgive them. You can forgive them and let go of those hurt feelings and move forward, because that's the only way that you are going to grow as a person and to elevate yourself. And that's another thing too, is like that regret of something that's in the past. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't change it. It's in the past. So let go of that. It's just weighing yourself, weighing you down, right? You have to find a way to forgive yourself too. If that's something that weighs heavy on your mind, like, oh, I said for him to, you know, I said this and this and this and told him to go to hell and I hate his guts and I wish he was never born, whatever. You have to also, if that really is something that plagues you, I mean, forgive yourself. You are a human being, you make mistakes, and you're allowed to be angry and hurt. And sometimes when we are angry and hurt, we say things we don't mean, or things that we do mean but are extra harsh, right? It's okay.
Yeah.
Forgive yourself, forgive him, but don't have a relationship with him, because at the end of the day, we want to be surrounded by people that love us and have our best interest at heart and support us and want us to succeed. Just like if you, like Zeno, you and I, we talk like, you know, I want the best for you, you want the best for me, because we're friends and we want each other to be whole and healthy and happy, not hurt.
Yeah, true. I'll just add a bit to what you just said, and I would say that if you can just add this caveat to that statement and say, hey, do not have a relationship with him if he doesn't want to have one. That I just want to put that caveat, because there are, if this person has turned a new leaf and now wants to have a relationship with you in some form and apologize, you know, which is a sign that he has grown up. If he comes and he apologizes, what you say, oh, no, I'm not going to have any relationship with you anymore because of what you did. No. If the person wants to have a relationship with you and has grown up according to what you've said, then yes, then you can make effort to mend the fence. But if he has not, please just stay.
Like
I want to ask a question.
Be open, but be leery. Don't just go in headstrong with a blind eye, just full on trusting again from like square one. No. You got to build that trust. You got to dip your toe in the pool of the brother relationship.
He has to earn your trust this time. That's the thing.
Yes.
You know, he has to work hard to earn your trust this time. But the relationship, keep it at that. But he has to, kind of work at it to earn your trust. I want to ask a question. It's one of my deviations or my digressions, but it's still on point. But in a different scenario, yeah.
Yeah.
Would you take back an ex that hurts you and is coming back and wants to reach out?
Wait, okay.
Ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend that really hurt you and you broke up, she left you for someone else, or he left you for someone else, and then later comes back and is saying, hey, I'm sorry, and you know how it goes, and wants to come back. Yeah, because it's the same principle.
Yeah, but it depends on, okay, well, did my ex steal money from me and cause me to lose my house and put me in the hospital? I mean, there's different levels. I mean, if he just was like, I don't know, that's tough, because if it depends on the situation. Like, I know people, my mom and dad have, they're in their late 70s, but they have this couple that my mom's been friends with this woman since high school. And this couple has gotten divorced. They were apart for a few years. Then they got remarried. Then they got divorced again. But now they live together, but they're not married. But they just live together because they're older now and they're just set, just kind of helping each other out. So, I mean, it does happen. I don't know. I think it just depends.
That's a very funny episode, but it's all cool.
I know, it's crazy to think like that. It's like, you guys got divorced.
Yeah, but you see, the reason I ask that is because I actually come across a lot of ladies and a lot of guys who are in this situation where they were in love with this person, they really liked her, and then she said she wasn't interested, or she probably left and went to some other guy and all of that, and you were heartbroken, and then it didn't work, because one thing about relationships is that, and I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and I said that the rate at which people are building relationship based on wants instead of needs, it's killing a lot of relationships, because the thing is, wants are, you can satisfy wants. So when you run around someone because of what your cravings and stuff, when those cravings change, or when that other person can no longer satisfy your cravings, you fall back to the needs,
Right.
And
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and if you were dating someone, like you met this guy, you really like him, you enjoy his company and all of that, but he doesn't meet those wants. For instance, he doesn't, a girl breaks up with a guy because the guy is not romantic, end quote. Well, again, what is romantic may be relative. So let's just say romantic, whatever her definition for romantic is. And then she started hanging out. She broke up and she started hanging out with this guy who was saying all the sweet words and all of that, and not knowing that the guy was saying the sweet words to 10,000 other, that's an exaggeration, but to all the girls. Yeah. No. And because the thing, I've always said this, and back me up on this. Yeah. No, maybe not. But
okay.
I hope
we'll see.
That moment where you're dreaming of this very cute guy that has broad shoulders, big six packs, goes to the gym all the time, kind of guy, and tall guys. I don't know what you guys are, what your fascination is with tall guys. I don't know. Well, ladies just keep saying, "Oh, he has to be tall." They're like, "Okay, what happens to short guys like us?" Well.
Start wearing elevator shoes.
but on a serious note, you see, they're always talking about the guy has to be tall, he has to be this, he has to be that. I've seen ladies who talked about dentition, he has to have perfect teeth, he has to this, he has to that. You have a long list of wants, and then when you create this perfect man, and this is where I want you to back me up, maybe or maybe not. But when you have this this idea of this perfect man, and you create this perfect man. Tell me if you're the only one that would want that perfect man.
No.
Every girl wants the same man. So if you find this perfect man, you're going to be ready to hustle and fight and struggle with to get the attention of this, or keep and sustain the attention of this perfect man that you have created. And then again, if this perfect man knows that he's the guy, like he's the dude, he's got this body, when he walks past, everybody's turning. If he knows that, and he knows that he's the catch, exactly, he's going to be going around. Of course, he's going to be getting people sleeping phone numbers to him and say, "Can you please pass on that phone number to that guy?" He's going to get all this attention. So now that's where I wanted you to back me up. Am I correct?
Okay, you went all tiggity boo on this, but here's the thing. With your wants and the needs thing, I agree. And I would say that someone, like, when you have that idea in your mind of the perfect person for you, you want him to, or for me, want him to look a certain way, act a certain way, to react a certain way. But the needs, there needs to be honesty, and there needs to be loyalty. Those are very specific needs in the relationship.
You're moving away. You're moving away from where I want you to back me up on. You know that, yeah?
What you want me to say is, like, yeah, I get it. Like if a girl has a guy, like what you were saying, the guy and the girl, and then the girl breaks up with him because no. That's not where I want you to go. Where I want you to go is to back me up on the fact that if you are your idea of a perfect man is another girl's idea of a perfect man, and so therefore, when you both find that perfect man, you're going to have to contend with all the other girls to keep and sustain your possession of that perfect man. Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Listen, that's why I said the need, not only just that he's my perfect man, but the need to have him be loyal and trustworthy are the two things. Because even though there might be other women that are out there vying for him and maybe lusting after him or whatever, yes, he's the perfect man to me, but he chose to be with me. And now what I need from him is to be honest and loyal. And if he has those two qualities, then I really, the other things, it kind of falls to the wayside. Like, yeah, I'm going to try. I'm not going to stop trying to be, attractive, or, try to care for his needs or take care of him in whatever way is possible. Oh, wink. But, I know what you're saying, but I feel like that's where you have to decide where, like, your wants and needs, where's the balance there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now back to my question, not the digression.
I don't know. We said a lot of things. I'm lost.
because I wanted, the reason I was actually trying to buttress my point as to the fact that when this person whom you found and who's got everything and then now decides to starts going around, you left the person who did not have who wasn't the perfect man according to your estimation, and then you met but who was really good. He was really good, he was nice, he was faithful, he was loyal, he was everything, but he wasn't the tall dude with the big chest and has a lot of money kind of guy. And so you met the Prince Charming that had all the good things that this other guy didn't have, and you went for him. And then he actually, when you talk about loyalty, I was just laughing. A guy who knows that every girl wants him, loyalty, okay. And then he finds that loyalty or disloyalty in quotes, and then he kind of you find out that he has a lot of girls and stuff like that, and then you found that he wasn't loyal to you, and then you went through a horrible, time, relationship and stuff, and you broke up.
This situation just keeps.
And then you fell back.
Keep adding all this.
Wait, and then you fell back. Now this is where, because I had to paint this part of the story, because so where she's coming from. So she fell back to the man who, because there must be a reason why she's coming back to this man. That's why I'm trying to paint those pictures, because sometimes there must be a reason why he's falling back to this man. And so he falls back to this man because this man's got the needs, like the thing that she needs, which is loyalty and all of that. So she falls back to him. Now the question is, and this is the original question, just in case I went left, right, but I'm back here. Would this man, if you were this man, or in this case, if you were the woman who this man flew around all the girls that had some thing, and then he's back to you, would you accept him?
If he left me for superficial reasons, no.
They all leave for superficial reasons, don't you think?
No, they don't. No, Zeno, no, they don't.
I'm kidding.
No, but in this scenario, if you're saying she left because there's other guy had the money and the car and the status and the height and the build, but then she realized he wasn't loyal and honest and decided to go back to the original guy because he didn't have all that, but he was loyal and honest. I mean, he's just going to be getting her by default. So why would you want to be with that person?
So the answer is no.
Somebody, yeah, the answer is no for me, because you would want to be with somebody who realizes that out the gate, like off the rip, and doesn't need to go out and experience other people to realize what she lost.
So on what ground would you accept someone back?
Okay. Ooh, okay. That's okay. Okay. On what ground? Okay.
On what ground would you accept someone back? Yeah.
Okay. All right. For example, my ex-husband was arrested for domestic violence. Now, he was made to go to anger management classes. Now, had we decided not to get divorced right after that, if he really worked hard and said, listen, I'm going to continue on with anger management, and I want to go to therapy, and I want to, and he really made an effort, and I thought he was sincere about that, and the situation never happened again, like, I would give him another chance. And then if it happened again, then I'd be out. Done deal. I would be like, okay, all your therapy, all your bullshit didn't take. So, but like if we had, a marriage and kids and a house and all that, and he lost control of himself or whatever the situation, but if he decided, well, listen, I know I was wrong to put my hands on you. I will never do it again. I will go to therapy. I will go to a counselor. Let's go to you want to go to your priest? Let's go to your priest. If he did whatever it would take to make amends and to remedy that, then I would say, yeah. Or, I mean, that's extreme. That's an extreme case. But say, for example, you even take it and say, like, somebody cheated on you and your boyfriend and girlfriend for, what, a year, 2 years, and your girlfriend cheated on you. I don't know. There's just so many different scenarios. I mean, if you're not married, marriage is a different thing than just boyfriend, girlfriend.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to. That's what I wanted to say. I wanted to say, take the marriage out, and let's talk about people who are just dating, like who just are in a relationship. Yeah. They're not married yet.
I mean, if you're just dating and somebody's like, for example, okay, so say it's not all that in a bag of chips. Say you're dating, right? And I'm the girlfriend, and my boyfriend says, "Oh, you know what? I'm not feeling good. I'm just gonna stay home. I don't wanna hang out this weekend." Oh, okay. Hope you feel better. You know, let's get together in a couple days. Okay. And then on social media, on Snapchat or Instagram, you see that he's at his buddy's house playing poker, or they're watching the game or whatever. Like that kind of a lie, you could like get past that. You could work through something like that. You know,
you won't break up. Would you break up over something like that? No, you wouldn't.
No. Right.
Yeah.
But that goes to trust, because if that is something that is a reoccurring theme, then yeah, I would break up. But then if he came back and said, listen, you know what? I realized that I haven't been putting you first. I've been putting my friends first, and I need to start putting you first. I would give him another shot. I'd be like, okay, let's try this again. Like, now that you made that realization and you voiced that to me, okay. And then if he does take steps to do that, then yeah. So I would say in something like that, yeah.
Yeah, but obviously, thank you for going away from my very dangerous scenarios, which I'm interested in dragging you back in, which is the fact that I know I'm a pain in the ass when it comes to that. Yeah, if you are dating someone and he left you for some girl or some other girl, yeah, and you were always seeing them on social media and stuff like that, like this kind of it. Like he actually left you, and you went through a lot of heartbreak, healing, stuff like that. Yeah, and it just that break of that relationship.
I would move on. I would move on.
And then he comes. Oh, somebody wants to join. Who's it? And he wants.
Move on.
Yeah, that's the question. So what do you what do you do?
No, at that point, like if he broke up to be with somebody else, I'd say, God bless. You want to be with her, then have at it. And then you want to break up with her and come back to me? No, absolutely not. No.
Okay,
just no way.
That's what I was thinking. That's exactly where I was when you were talking about. You were trying to move away from, because sometimes things are just
you kept adding to the situation, this hypothetical situation, and you kept adding different.
Yeah, because I wanted to make it really, really, because in real life, the thing is that in real life, these things are really difficult to decide. Like going back to our previous conversation, the initial question, and I think we've overflogged it, but going back to the initial questions, some things are not very easy, but the answers, the solution to them are pretty straightforward.
Right.
Some of them are probably but some are just straightforward. If he comes back and say, hey, because he's your brother, if he comes back and tries to reach out, and he's had a change of mind, and I like the way you said it at the beginning. If you have seen from around, circumstantial evidence is called in law, when you've looked around and see that he's been doing some things that have changed, his actions have changed, the way he acts around people had changed, you've seen some evident change, then you know that this person has actually gone through a process of change, and then you can just but if he's still the same person and he doesn't even make efforts to reach out, you're just putting yourself through a lot of stress trying to get. And that's what
that guy's definitely setting himself up for failure. He was the one that was put upon. He was the one that was harmed. He was the one that was that suffered all of the consequences and all the hurt. But yet, just because of nostalgic or romantic feelings or thoughts of the relationship, the brotherly relationship from the past, because like I said, our minds play tricks on us. Our memories are not 1,000%, they're not accurate. You can ask a group of people, like you could show them a picture or a video and say, okay, and then ask them all questions about the same exact thing, and you'll get all different answers, because everybody's minds are different and they remember things differently. So your idea of the relationship in your your brotherly relationship, he might, you know what, too, Zeno? He might not even be appreciative of the relationship that they had prior to the fight. Like, obviously he wasn't, because he was taking advantage of him, but he might not even be looking back on the relationship going, you know what, we used to be so close, I miss him. Because if he did, he would be the one picking up the phone to make that phone call. So just protect yourself, protect your health, protect your property and your well-being, and just move forward. Call it, just cut ties, don't look back, and just keep the memories and appreciate the love you had for him in the past, but just don't put yourself in a position to have your brother wipe his feet on you again, because 9 times out of 10 it will happen.
Perfect. I agree with you, and that's a good point to move to the next question. Right?
Oy vey, do we have to?
No, the next question is actually the one that has to do with the number 10.
I know this one.
Yeah, and it's a very difficult one, and so that's why I kind of stayed a bit on the first question, because I was
I know exactly what you were doing. I know exactly. I was like, dragging your feet. I know.
I was digressing and going out this way and that way, just so I don't get to talk about this.
Let's hit it head on. Let's just head on, man. We have to. Let's do it.
We have to. And this is where I told you to kind of be the so I don't go out of line. You got to keep a leash around me on this topic. But let's read it. I asked my girlfriend last week what she would do. This is a guy. Yeah. I asked my girlfriend last week what she would do if she got pregnant. She's not pregnant, but he just asked what she would do if she got pregnant. And she said she would get rid of it. I think this is not right. So she's asking us what our views or opinion on abortion is.
Well,
in a relationship.
Can I just say, all these people that are asking their significant others hypothetical questions, stop it. Just stop it. You're not getting the answers you want, and it's like causing a ruckus. Like, honestly, okay.
Wait. Before you go further, this is something very important that you just said. Very important. It may just be like you are just trying to put it out there, but it is something very important. And this is the hypothetical questions. We hear it all the time. And you see, they just come up with some, and ladies do this more. I know when I try to say this, I don't like, wow. Yeah, I know. But they ask a lot of these hypothetical questions. They're watching Telemundo, or they're watching a show on TV. And guess what? Hey, what would you do? And I'm like, what? You just watch something on TV, or your folks said something, or you guys always say things, and you just hear stories and stuff, and then you're back to him and asking questions that will never happen.
Listen, we want all the information possible. We want it all. We want every possible scenario.
FBI.
We want CIA. We need the knowledge. We've got to have it so we know how to maneuver accordingly then, Really?
No, because you're asking a question about something that has not happened, and you see we're fighting for 2 hours over something that did not happen, has not happened, will not happen, but we're fighting. Why? Because I said something.
Let's get into that little tiny portion of this question first, before we go into what is our opinion of abortion, because that is such a hot button topic. Like, the thing is that the hypothetical question that you're asking somebody, and these questions they're heavy. They're very emotional, heavy issues, very life-altering issues, right? Mm-hmm. So it's very difficult to really put yourself in a position to answer how you would react to something if you're not in that situation, if it's not happening to you. Like, to imagine things, to imagine yourself in a situation, it's very difficult to feel, because you don't feel those emotions yet, because you're not experiencing them. You're just imagining them. So on one hand, I think these hypothetical questions are not helpful or useful to the relationship.
I agree
think
with you.
it's causing a lot of friction and a lot of aggravation and a lot of arguments that don't need to be had.
I agree with
Now,
in fact, I clap my hands to that.
okay, thank you. But now, having
I knew
said
there was
that,
I knew something was coming. I
now
knew something was
having
coming.
said that,
Mhm.
the thing is that if you're going to accept somebody as your partner, you want to, these topics, these subjects, these issues are so big. They're not minute little, I don't like mint chocolate chip ice cream. What? Oh my God, I don't even know who you are. No, these are big issues, right? So it is important, I think, to have an open, honest conversation about how your significant other feels about these things, because they can ultimately be a detriment to the relationship if you're not on the same page, or if you're not willing to just say, you know what, let's agree to disagree. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Because
Yeah.
these subjects, and like I said, the hypothetical, well, what would you do if they, no, you're just picking at something that's just going to end up not ending up, it's going to end up with you being on the couch that night, so
But you know what? If you, how do you handle the hypothetical questions? Now the thing is, sometimes you say to yourself, okay, what would you do if this happened and that happened? And like you rightly said, it's difficult to ascertain what you would do if you've not been in that situation, or you're not in that situation. So it's hard, But sometimes you may say, hey, this is what I feel a person in that situation might do. So it's kind of very important that you clarify that you've not been in that situation before. You've never been in that situation before. It's difficult to say, to kind of say, hey, this is what I'm going to do if I'm in that situation. What would you do if you get pregnant? It's difficult because I've never been pregnant. What would you do if this happened? It's difficult because I've never been in that situation before. So I agree with you percent that if I've not been in that situation before, and I don't know what it feels like. I'm not in that situation, so it's difficult to ascertain. So it's important to start your answer by saying that, hey, because I've not been in that situation, and I'm not there at the moment. It's hard to say, hey, this is what I would feel like, or this is what may not be correct.
Even moving deeper into this question that this person sent you. First of all, Zeno, we don't know the age of these people asking the question. So this could be a teenager, right? Or this could be somebody who has already been married and have kids. I mean, there's a whole range of information that we don't have, right? So we have to kind of go by just
generally
kind of a blanket idea of an answer, right? So for example, when the thoughts and the feelings I had about life situations when I was a teenager are completely different than how I feel about those things now, because I've lived for so many decades, because I've been through so much, because I've experienced so much. So it's not really fair. I don't think, say, hypothetically, what would you do if you got pregnant and his girlfriend says, well, I would get rid of it. Okay, but are you teenagers? Does she have family? Is it because of religious beliefs? Is it political? I mean, there's just a lot of information that we don't have. So maybe the question should be to his girlfriend, not what would you do if you got pregnant, but, to sit her down, to have a conversation about what are your views on abortion? How do you feel? And then have an honest conversation about the ins and outs of, and the different situations that could occur, or to talk about maybe friends that have gone through it, to have a conversation about that, instead of just throwing out a hypothetical and then harboring a resentment because you didn't get the answer you didn't like.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I agree honestly with that. And I think that before we talk about our views, when guys talk about when guys have this conversation about pregnancy, I don't like the idea of what are you going to do. I'm always up for what are we going to do. So
Ooh,
it
that's a good point. Snap.
yeah,
Yeah, I like
it's
that.
not always what are you going to do about it. No,
Yeah.
what are we going to do about it? Because
Right,
it's
right.
a decision that we've got to make. So that's something I like guys especially take note of this. Don't because once you get someone pregnant, you're saying, "What are you going to do about it?" No, no, not what she's going to do. It's what are we going to do? What's it's something that's a combined,
And
combined. Therefore,
that's a
yeah,
thousand percent true because it affects both parties emotionally, no matter what. I mean,
go.
of course, more so for the woman because she's the one that's carrying the child and has to ultimately make the absolute final decision either way. But the man's role in abortion is a supportive one. They
Mm,
have to understand that even though it is a supportive role, they are part of that decision. They are part of that emotional, you know, situation. What?
mhm. Very
But
true.
yeah, but see, like I said before too, like for like our opinion about abortion, like I mean, if you really must have our opinion, and we could go there, and you and I have talked about this privately in our own conversations. Like, for me personally, I have birthed 4 children. So for me, it wasn't an issue. But there were, not to say that when I was pregnant, at certain points of my pregnancy, I was depressed and I wasn't thinking clearly, and I thought maybe I could do that, but ultimately, like, because I had to entertain thoughts of terminating a pregnancy. And let me tell you, let me just, if you'll indulge me for a minute, um, my hold on, my third child, I was pregnant with my daughter Emily, and I got a phone call from the doctor's office when I was after I had my ultrasound, my first ultrasound, when I was like right after, I think the first trimester, going into the second. And they said, all right, Mama Higgs, they used my name though. They said, we see on the ultrasound that the fetus has choroidal plexus, which I guess was 2 cysts. She had 2 cysts on her brain. And they said that there is a small percentage chance that if you carry this baby to full term, that she would be born with Down syndrome. Now, as a result, I had to go in for multiple ultrasounds to keep to see the progress, or to see what was going on with the development of the fetus. And they said, but there is a chance, we see this happen often, that with the development of the fetus, as she grows and gets larger and stronger, that those cysts could dissipate. But we won't really know until she's born. So you have some options. You aren't too far along yet. You can A, have an abortion, or you can B, get an amniocentesis, which is where the doctor takes a needle and draws out the amniotic fluid from the uterus to test it genetically to see if there is a genetic deficiency of Down syndrome or retardation, I don't know, and some sort of developmental disease. Or you could just carry the baby to term, and we'll just have continue with the ultrasounds to see if the cysts will diminish or dissipate. And I was distraught and I was beside myself because that decision was so monumental. And I thought, at the time, my husband and I were getting along, and we had 2 other children, Jake and Samantha. And I thought, well, if it's God in the universe, God's decision to give us a child that has developmental needs, then I will just handle it, and take care of the child as best I can. Then that's what is supposed to happen for my life. And I thought, I won't get an abortion. But And then I thought, I'm not going to get the amniocentesis because there was a 1 in 300 chance that I would spontaneously abort. So I thought, well, I didn't want to take that chance. So I thought, oh yeah, it'd be my luck that I'd be the 300th customer of the day. So I didn't want to do that. So I thought, well, I'll just wait it out and have the baby. And as I went and had my ultrasounds, the choroidal plexus disappeared, and but I was very nervous because I never knew until the day my daughter Emily was born if she would be, quote, and I'm doing air quotes, normal, but she was born perfectly healthy. I saw her little one dimple on her face, and she was screaming and crying, and she was 100% healthy. And now we joke about it because she's 26, and I'm like, well, normal is a relative term. I said, well, Emily, you're quote unquote normal, I guess, but we laugh. But that's the thing. For me, it was never an option. But that's not to say that it should be, I think, available and for women to have if they so choose, if that's what they decide to do for their own bodies. And it should be available and safe. But, that's the thing with life, Zeno, is that you never know until you're in that situation what you're going to do. And for this boyfriend to just put all that weight on a hypothetical answer, I don't think is fair.
And I wanted to say something. Again, thank you for sharing. You're always so kind, sharing those experiences with us. It's some experiences are very difficult to share. So when I hear you sharing those, going into some of those reserves and being able to share some of the stuff, just to buttress the point, it's something that I really appreciate from the depth of my heart. I think the listeners also appreciate that.
Yeah, sure.
And I want to, yeah, and I agree 100% with what you just said. So I'm not going to add to it. But I'm going to say something that, or I'm going to ask, when it comes to making that decision, when it comes to making the decision on whether or not, I think that is a decision, because women always talk about, again, I agree with you on the fact that it should be a woman's prerogative. It's her body. She should be able to decide what to do with it. But is there any role that the guy, I know you talked about being supportive and a supportive role, but is there any role the guy has in that decision, Because when it comes to making that decision as to whether or not to take it off or to keep it, is it a we decision or an I decision? Like, this is my body, I've got to do it, or
right.
A we decision, like, I know this is what I want to do. What do you think about it? Or right. This is what I think would be good. Let's talk about it. Is it a we or I decision?
Yeah. Ultimately, in a perfect world, you would hope it's a we decision, but it comes down to the final decision, obviously, is the woman's, because she's carrying the child. But ultimately, you would want it to be a we decision, but it's often it is not, and that's the sad situation. That's the sad reality of the world, And there's just so many different variants and so many different situations that for a woman, a female, it's never an easy decision to make. And let me give you another example. Like, Z, I was born and raised Catholic, and the Catholics, like, if you just are a staunch Catholics, is still a practicing Catholic. I mean, you said, well, we don't believe in abortion at all, but I'm not practicing. And I'm also a realist who's had 4 kids, 3 of which are daughters. And I've had many female friends who have had abortions and gone through, what they, the emotional roller coaster of what to do. So here's a situation. I had a very good girlfriend, and this wasn't even too long ago, probably about 7, 8 years ago. And she was in her mid to late 30s, and she already had a child who was 10 years old, and she was a single mother. She was on her own. And she was my coworker, and she had gotten pregnant. Now, she did not want to have this child. She didn't want to go through with the pregnancy because she was in her mid to late 30s. She was on her own. The guy that she got pregnant by they weren't dating. They were kind of off, on and off again. And the woman and my friend was kind of a partier, like, because we worked together in a bar. So she was always drinking and staying out after her shifts. And it wasn't like, you know, she would have her one daughter who was about 10 or 11 years old at the time stay with her sister while she worked, but she would take advantage of that. And she was sleeping with a lot of the different clients that would come in. So she got to a point where she was pregnant. Okay. Now, for me, I wouldn't get an abortion for myself, but she had nobody to go with her. And she asked me, and I said, of course, I'll go with you. And I went with her to the abortion clinic. And it was a very difficult situation because you have people outside protesting. They're screaming horrible things to you, calling you a murderer. And then you go in and you've got this waiting room full of young girls and people that are there to support them. And you're all there for the same reason. And it is the most uncomfortable, unnerving place to be. But I thought, you know, I'm going to be a good friend and I'm going to be here with her because she doesn't have anybody else. And because her sister wouldn't even go with her. So I went with her. I went in. Now, she had extreme circumstances because her uterus was heart-shaped. So it was difficult for them to do the abortion. And I have to say, it didn't take. And she had to make another appointment and go back. So we had to do it all over again. And ultimately, she had to go into the hospital because she had complications from it. And I went to the hospital to visit her and brought her. And it was just a whole ordeal. Her body went through so much. And I remember staying overnight with her, getting her medication and going home with her and getting her comfortable and staying with her. And it was a very unnerving, very sad, uncomfortable situation. But I don't want people to think that people who get these abortions, you know, that it's just, oh, we go in, do this procedure, you're good to go. No, there's just so much emotionality and just things that happen that are, you know, that are just, it's a whole different realm of uncomfortability and heaviness that you have to make these decisions as a female. So for the male, like I said, their role is supportive, and ultimately you would hope that if you decide to do this, you would have somebody that will hold your hand, that will go with you, that'll say, you know, whatever you need, I'm here. I'll get you medicine. I'll stay the night. I'll hold your hand. You know, we'll do this together. But that's not always the situation. And women are left on their own to handle this emotional, you know, upheaval by themselves. And it's difficult. So I don't know. I went with my friend to be a supportive friend, but it wasn't easy for me as a friend, and it wasn't easy for her. But it's not.
Yeah. From that, you could literally see that sometimes it's not like they would want. It's something that it's not like they don't want to get the guys involved. It's just that, but you know, it just happens that the guys are not there. You know, like they you know, so it becomes for me. I think that you know, the need for that is relative. The need for abortion, it's something that you've got to look at. One peg does not fit every hole in this particular thing. I think that to a very great extent, decisions have to be made. Yeah. Yes. And those decisions have to be made if it is possible. and this is where I stand. If it is possible to avoid the situations that result to the situations that necessitate you making that decision to abort, that's where I would go for. Circumstances where those situations cannot be avoided, for instance, where a girl is raped by a family member, or a situation where she was forcefully, those kind of weird situations where it is between life and death, or where that person will constantly be reminded of the trauma that created that particular pregnancy. Yeah, you know,
Right.
those kind of situation, you're like, okay, yeah, that's it. But for a situation where you're with this guy, and you guys are having fun, partying and everything, and you're having unprotected sex, and then you get pregnant. It's like you got pregnant as a result of that, and then you're like, okay, I just got to get it out and get on the road again. It's like, I at that point I just feel like, no, because at the bottom line is somebody is somebody's life is taken, whether you like it or not. So the situations, the circumstances may now determine why that decision should be taken and what necessitates those decisions. And finally,
Right.
are you ready to put me on a leash? But finally, I'm trying very hard not to go too
Yeah.
far. But
I know you're walking a very tight rope right
very
now, and I
tiny,
appreciate
very
it.
tiny rope.
But
Yeah.
I am champing at the bit right now because, like, I'm
Mhm.
leaning over my kitchen table right now with my hands pressed against each other because I want to say something so bad. But continue, please continue.
Finally, so that you would say what, that particular thing. I also no, I think you should say it, because it may just leave you if I keep you too long. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to interject about, because I know what you're saying. Like, yes, there are circumstances where there's forced sexual abuse, and a pregnancy results as a result of it. And yes, of course. Then yeah, but like we said earlier, these hypotheticals, you don't know what you're going to do until you are put into that position or that situation. So even for my friend who I worked with, and I forgot to say this, that was her second abortion that I went to with her. And then she got pregnant a third time. I think it was by the same guy. And she decided to have that child. And then that child had some physical disabilities. She was a hot mess. But here's the thing, like you said, she wasn't physically, abused, sexually abused. She was a grown woman with already one child. But the problem was she was in an environment, she had a horrible self-image. She hated herself, the self-loathing. She was emotionally scarred from her upbringing. She carried that into these sexual relationships. Yeah, to you and I, it's like, well, she should have the baby because she ought to know better. She's 30 something and she's already a mom. But like we said, you don't know what you would do until you're in that situation. I disagree with what she was doing, but I was there to support her as my friend. It wasn't my job to pass judgment on her or to say, but for me, I wouldn't be in that situation, but she was. So I was there to support her. But there should be, and that was her decision. She shouldn't be forced to have a child. And then what? Then she's what? There are women that have these children, right? In certain states right now in the United States, they're getting, well, that's whole political. But if you're forcing women to have children, that's going to up the infant mortality rate. That's going to up the rate of children, increase the rate of children being abandoned, put a strain on the healthcare system. These children are going to go into foster care and state care facilities where they're not cared for. I mean, it's just a whole other just spectrum of just you know, it's hard. So this topic, like we said at the beginning of it, it's a hot button subject topic. It's difficult because it's just not a, like for this, like in our show, Black and White, this is difficult. It's difficult. And I think it's every situation is different. Therefore, we can't judge, and you have to, and as a female, you have to make that own choice for yourself.
In conjunction with the person, if the person is there, if the person is present, you should have that you should make that decision in conjunction with the person that you're having it with, or you are having that affair with, or something like that. It must be something that, if you can get that person to kind of join in the decision, then it becomes your decision to make. And I would want to say this, and I think after this we'll move to the next topic, because it's really, I'm trying very hard not to. Well,
I do have a question for you.
Yes, but before that question, I would like to say this. Yeah, guys must take responsibility of. They must begin to take responsibility as far as having protected sex is concerned. I want to say this specifically to guys. I don't want to kind of go, because if I go into the ladies, I may probably just cross that thin line that I've been trying not to cross. But for guys, they must begin to take responsibility. If a girl is telling you, no, I don't want to have sex with you without a condom, respect what she says. Don't try to act like, I'm not, no, just because at the end of the day, you're not going to go through the emotional trauma and all these things, physical trauma that this girl is going to go through if she gets pregnant. So I think guys should begin to take more responsibility and not sit down and open their mouth in legislations or legislative houses and saying, no, we don't support this, and you say everything because you're not, and this one thing I always say, the people making decisions for us in government, in legislative houses, they're people who have never had any experience with the things that they are making legislations about. So you see them talking, and you see guys talking about this stuff, but they've never had babies. They've never had to carry babies. So they've never had to deal with this trauma. But they talk about it with so much boldness and stuff like that. So yeah, guys should now begin to take, I would suggest that guys begin to take responsibility, and for ladies, do not, and for everybody, not just ladies, everybody, okay? When sometimes when things happen in our lives that as a result of a mistake that we made, let's not try to now begin to put it on, how we were brought up. I see that happening a lot. They say, it's because of his psychological, he just killed someone. Like, he killed the person because he had some mental problem, and and they begin to trace something, or trace that thing to something. And at the end of the day, you realize that person actually did this because he hated this guy. But no, the society says, don't blame him. Blame the mental health issues that he had. And I'm like, so nobody's ready to take responsibility for actions anymore, because they always want to blame their upbringing. They always want to blame somebody else. They always want to blame, this person didn't do this. This person didn't do that. I went through a lot of whatever growing up. That's why I did what I did.
Right.
Take responsibility for whatever you do.
Right. I agree with that. And I was just going to ask you, if you were in the relationship and like you said, listen, your girlfriend got pregnant and you said, I want the baby. I will take care of the baby. Like, just have the baby. And your girlfriend still said, no, I'm going to terminate the pregnancy. Then what? Like, that's what you were saying. Like, whose decision? When does it become a we decision? It stops becoming a we decision ultimately when the female decides what to do with her body and what to do with the pregnancy. Because I know you have situations where men are like, no, please, please, please have this child. But ultimately, if the woman is not gonna, if she doesn't want to have the go to full term and have the child, you guys are, what do you have to, then you have to deal with your emotional trauma.
Yeah, that is where the that's why it's that's why, like you said initially, it's a very difficult topic, because
Yes.
Sometimes the men actually want the baby.
Right.
There are times where there is these stereotypes that men will get a girl pregnant and they would run away because they don't want the baby. Yeah, it happens sometimes, but there are other times where the guys actually want the baby. Like, for instance, I love children. I love kids. So if I have a girlfriend and that girlfriend becomes pregnant, I'll be the happiest person in the world, because then I'm going to be a father. Now, the idea here is there are guys like that enjoy that would give everything, that would support, that will be there, that will do all of that, and the irony, the sad irony is that those guys always end up meeting ladies that don't want children. Right. And then the guys that don't want children at all always end up meeting ladies that want kids. So you see,
it's just, you know what? It's so convoluted. And like we said at the beginning, every situation is different, and it's the hypotheticals will get you into trouble. Don't ask questions you don't want answers to unless you're ready to have a real sit down ABC conversation.
Yeah, but again, it's important that it's important as a lady that you know what the guy's opinion and what his opinion is about being a father. Right. It's important that you know what if he's not ready to be a father, and he tells you categorically, like, you've got to know, because if it would happen. If you're having sex without protection, you're going to get pregnant at some point. It's going to happen. So don't act like it's not. It's going to happen. So there's a tendency to say, okay, we got to be prepared for the eventuality of what it is we're doing. So we've got to make a decision as to what happens if this happens. I know we've not been there.
That's why I said you have to have a sit-down conversation and
yes,
and speak about
and not when it happens. You should have that conversation before it happens. Yeah, you should have. I'm telling you, you should have a conversation, and that's something a lot of people don't do. Have that conversation with this guy about what. Yeah. Have that conversation. Yeah, because it's a very serious conversation, and I try very hard, and thank you very much for being so supportive on this, because it could have been difficult for me to do it on my own.
I know it would have been. I know it,
because sometimes I get really. I saw a young lady who was to deliver a speech at her graduation ceremony. A young girl, and she spent the entire speech talking about abortion and why the state should support ladies who want to abort children. And I'm like, okay.
Not the way.
At some point, you saw it, right? At some point, I was like, okay, you're making some sense. At some other point, she got so emotional about the thing, and I'm like, okay, you cannot talk about this topic without talking about the two sides of the coin.
Right.
You cannot just fall on one side of the coin to make it look like it's only the lady. Sometimes it's also the emotional part of this scenario also affects some of the guys, so you must look at it, and that's why I'm happy that you were able to do that. Look at it from two perspectives and be able to say, well, if this is what you must do, you must know that it's not comfortable, but if it's the only choice, if it's the only option, if it's the only option available, but if there is another option, if it's something that you can, you must astray all the options, and it's always better when you have support. Yeah, it's always the decisions are easier to make when there is support. It is difficult to make when there is no support. And you're just there on your own, and you don't know what to do because you're on your own, and you're thinking about a lot of things.
Really, it's always better to have support when you have to make difficult decisions, with
True.
anything.
True.
So,
True. Yeah,
that exhausted me.
Because it was hard. It was
Yeah.
really hard. I think it was very difficult. It's one of the
to lighten the mood a little bit. This next question I really like.
Yeah, we're moving there, and I Next question is this, and we're moving out of abortion. Ooh.
Bye. Bye, Felicia.
No, this is a time where you actually get to acknowledge everybody that's here and has been here through this very difficult question. And I have,
hey, cool little sis.
Cool Little Sis. I want to say something about Cool Little Sis. She's an amazing woman. She's got this energy, and I've done a couple of shows with her, and she's just amazing. Thank you very much.
Avatar. I like her glasses, her little nose piercing, and
cool.
her headband.
Oh yeah, she loves the Lord, and she's an amazing.
And I want to say a few words about Zip, my friend Zippy, who's in the room. Hello, Zip. Happy Saturday. He's an amazing person too. We've become fast friends, and we've had a lot of long talks, and he's a very, very intelligent, down to earth, kick-ass human being. So thank you for being here, Zip.
Thank you for everyone who's been with us from the very beginning. I really appreciate your companionship as we waded through this very difficult. But the last question is not very difficult, so we're going to kind of chill over it. Let's see. I have heard you talk about breathing exercises and yoga. I know who they're talking about, and I have
guilty charged.
And I have decided to try it. It's just that it's hard with kids 6 years and 4 years respectively, and it's been really difficult. And so she wants to find out any walk around. Is there any walk around? And for you who I'll let you have this first.
Well, Zeno, we got a voice note from Cool Little Sis. You want to take that before we get into the ABCs of this answer?
Yes, I will.
Hi, greetings, Mama Higgs. Hey, Zeno, my Clean Talk Squad member. Dude, you brought it. I love what you just said. I haven't been here for the entire session, but I came in on something really great. I'm so proud of what you expressed. Hearing it from a man especially, you represented men in a really wonderful way, and the Lord as well.
Oh, cool.
I think she has an amendment to that, like her second part.
My message cut off, but I just wanted to say once again how proud I am of you, and just, the way that you express yourself in such a responsible way. And you two do a really great job with your podcast. I've heard some of your other recordings, and just keep up the good work.
Aww, that's wonderful. Thank you, Cool Little Sis. Appreciate that.
Yeah, she's somebody who would listen to her shows, and if you got the time, she's doing a lot of very good shows, and so always
I just followed her.
Yeah, it's always a blessing. And I want to say this, that I was able to express that because I was on the leash. But I think that I was able to kind of say what I really wanted to say, which is really cool, and I think that every man should hear it as it is, because I'm tired of the men taking like avoiding the responsibility and stuff like that. So thank you very much for that compliment, and thank you very much for listening to our shows, especially the past shows. Like some people take time out to listen to the shows that we've done before, and that's really cool. We appreciate it.
Much appreciated.
Okay, now for our yoga queen.
Yes, this question is very, I can just 1,000% relate to, having raised 4 children on my own. and always having them around and, you know, running around in the chaos in the house that can happen with children, especially when they're small. So here's the thing. At 6 and 4 years old, they're at great ages for you to include them. There is a website, I don't know, it was like a meditation website or yoga website that they have them on YouTube, where you can do yoga with your kids, you know. So kids love being involved and they love feeling like they're a part of something. So include them.
Not me. Never.
But you know what? Here, I'm going to give some examples about like doing that with your kids. But if you really want just that time by yourself, there's a few things you can do. You can get up earlier, right? You can get up before they get up and start a routine for yourself. And just get up a little bit earlier and have that quiet time and find some good YouTube yoga exercises for you that work, or meditation. Even here's one, like if you're riding around and you're in the car and the kids fall asleep in the car, pull into a park and just park in the parking lot and just sit and do some quiet meditation while they're zonked out in the back seat. You can do that. I mean, you have to get kind of creative when you have little ones, right? And it's a lot about distraction too. You can distract them. Like, for example, at home, if you decide you're going to do your yoga and your meditation, I suggest doing it in the morning as early as you can, but set up a play area for your kids with like little art supplies or puzzles or Play-Doh or whatever, educational TV to try to keep them busy and make that part of the routine, you know. But also, if they interrupt you, you can use that as an opportunity to work on as an exercise of working on your own patience and your own breath work, and try to just talk to them. Say, listen, this is mommy's yoga time, quiet time. You have your activities, and, you know, don't get mad at them, but let them understand that this is your time, and let them know that even if they interrupted you today, we could try again tomorrow. And, you know, just as long as you talk to your kids, you know, they get a lot of, they're so absorbent, they're sponges. But also, I really feel like just maybe doing yoga with the kids. You can there's a lot of websites out there like that you can do guided meditation, sit them down, help them breathe, because they want to do that stuff. They like being involved. The one website is called kiddingaroundyoga.com, where they actually teach you like breath practices, certain breathing techniques that are easy for kids to do. So that website's kiddingaroundyoga.com. But also, like at night, I know for me, I have my TV in my room. It's a Fire TV, and I just go on YouTube and I have some guided meditations that I just play at night, and they're kind of like hypnosis and guided meditations and breath work. So when you put the kids to bed, you could do that at night if you have a TV in your room and you're able to do that, or maybe your laptop or whatever.
I would have loved.
Go ahead.
I would have. Yeah. No. Are you done? Because I would have loved to say something about this, but I feel like it's something that's something that I'm even trying hard to do, and the reason is not far-fetched. The reason is because for some people, yoga and meditation has been a way to help them get over. To help them, you know, sort of. And I'm learning that, you know, the moment where you're still learning to see how you can adopt that. So most of the time I'm like a student here now. So that's why I'm not saying a lot about this, and I'm allowing you to say a lot. Yeah. So I'm going to try that.
Well, you know, it's so for parents with small children, I know it's very difficult sometimes with the noise and the chaos to try to find some time for yourself. That's why I'm saying, like, if you can try to incorporate that, you still getting your yoga and your breath work meditation in with your children, set up mats for them, you know, try to be enthusiastic about maybe kid yoga and go on and find some kid yoga and do that with them. because they'll take cues from your attitude and from your overall emotional state. But if, like, for example, if you explain to your kids, hey, you know, you guys sit here, watch Sesame Street, mommy's going to do her yoga. If you make this a routine, so say, for example, they get used to that. And if your child allows you to complete your session without interruption, thank them. Say, thank you. That was so helpful for mommy. I really appreciate you being so good. And as a reward, let's sit down and read a book, read their favorite story. I mean, you could do puppet time. I mean, just find different ways of showing positive reinforcement that they were good and that they helped you to be, you know, calm and happy, because kids want to help. They want to get involved, you know. But you also, as far as meditation goes, you have to also learn that when you meditate, you're not trying to just block out all the noise. You have to learn to meditate with the noise around, the noises around you, birds, cars, you know, trucks outside, kids, you know, yelling in the background, as long as they're not getting into anything that's that they shouldn't, you know. But if you explain to them what yoga is and why you're doing it, like they'll understand. Like, sit them down. Mommy's doing this to stay healthy. Mommy's doing this to build her strength, because it's important to be strong and healthy, right? You know, so that they can sit down and tell them that these are things that are important to build. And it'll help them ultimately too. You know, and maybe even give them journals. I know they're 6 and 4, but like the 4-year-old can color in a coloring book, maybe, you know, but to pick a time to just do this every day or almost every day, if you can. Like, if like 9 in the morning is good, like right after breakfast. Okay, let's get our mats, get your coloring books. Okay, mommy's we're gonna do our yoga, and they will love it, and it will fast become a happy, positive routine. And before you know it, you're all doing it, or you're getting what you need out of it, the benefits out of it, and your kids are getting the benefits out of it. And just really quickly, I'm gonna to the woman who asked the question, there's a gentleman on Instagram that I follow. His name is Benevolent Blizz, and he's vegan, but he, I think, just had their 4th child. They have 4 girls, and they're all under the age of, I think, 7 or 8. So, but every day, like, he does his mantra and his meditation, and he has the girls do it with him every day in the morning. You know, as soon as they get up, I am open to receive. I'm worthy to receive. I am receiving, you know, positive mental downloads, good health, wealth, positivity in my life, you know. So get them in that mindset of saying positive things with you. You know, let's sit down and say our mantra, you know. And before you know it, they'll be taking the ball and rolling with it and say, hey, Mom, look, let's do this yoga pose. Can you do this? Let's do this.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that too. And you know, children are always at that age they're creating their own persona. And the only way to create their own persona is to imitate what they see. So if you get them along, they probably would pick it up. They would be excited to get involved rather than you just push.
They get eager, very eager.
Yeah. True.
Especially if you are enthusiastic. That's the thing. You know, if they take their cues from your attitude, from your emotional state. Hey, we're going to do this today. Isn't this fun? Isn't that make everything positive? That upward inflection, that excited tone in your voice, you know? Even if you tell your child or your kids, like, mommy's going to do her adult yoga for 30 minutes. If you let mommy do her yoga, then when the mommy's done, we'll do kid yoga. You want to do kid yoga with mommy? Okay, then set the timer. And when the ding goes off, then they know, okay, now it's our turn. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can incorporate different ideas. Just go online. There's tons of websites out there where you could just ask, like, you know, how you can get yoga and meditation done with small kids in the house. You know, there's tons of ideas, and you'll be able to work it out, but also just stick to a routine. You'll be able to find out what works for you, and then just stick to that. And the benefits, there's only benefits. There's no detriment to it.
Yeah. I wanted to add to that, and to say that I am happy that question came up, because it came up from someone who was perhaps listen to the show, and not someone who was reading. One thing about this show is that at first it was about people reading and then responding to what I write. Now it's about people listening to what we say and responding and asking questions based on the show that they listen to, which is good. This is one of those questions that came as a result of the show. And Mama Higgs was talking about. I was talking about meditation one day. I can remember that day because I was like, "Oh my God, I don't do this." But like I don't do meditation. But they were talking about. I think was talking about it with some. There was someone who sent a voice note about meditation and stuff, and so I think it was on that show, and she was talking about Mama Higgs was talking about the benefits of meditation and stuff. So I'm happy to get questions that arise from the show.
Yes, thank you so much for that question. By the way, whoever sent that in,
and then two.
With the little ones.
and then two, I like that question because a lot of women, I appreciate women a lot because of the great job that they do, especially mothers. I think that mothers are superheroes. I always say that every single year when it's time for Mother's Day, I spend time just writing beautiful pieces for mothers because I think that they are superheroes. They are the real superheroes, actually. Because if you've been in a home where you see the mother and 3 kids and you see them handling themselves, especially when the children are small, like they are between the ages of 4 and 10. It's a hassle, and she has to put everything. I'm telling you, and she has to ensure that everybody is satisfied, everybody's okay, everybody's all right, everybody's doing the right thing and stuff like that. So some mothers use this as an excuse not to do what they're supposed to do. And each time they say, "Oh, well, I could have been doing that, but you know me, I have 3 kids. I have to, I should have been doing that. Oh, but you know me, I have 3 kids and why are you not exercising? Oh, well, I would have loved to exercise, but you know me, I have 3 kids. And why are you not saving? Oh, I would have loved to save and do all of that, but I have 3 kids. So you see that I have 3 kids become like an excuse for not doing what you're supposed to do. And while I appreciate the fact that it's tedious and it's a full-time job in its own, and the fact that you go through a lot trying to get everybody in place and and there's some kids that you have to put your eye on 24/7, like you just and there's some kids that if they don't hear your voice in 2 minutes, they're going to scream, literally. They just want to have money around every single time, and so I know the fact that you want to still go ahead and do some things and find a way around it with your kids, which obviously, thank God, Mama Higgs have helped you out today with how you can practical steps that you can use in this regard. And these practical steps also apply to whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's exercising, like sometimes you want to do exercises at home. You can also get them involved. Don't get them involved and do your thing. And,
I think
they may not be.
Part of the problem with that is, I know there were times where I felt like I just wanted to do something for myself, and there was years ago when I just had Jake and Samantha when they were babies. I lived in Atlanta, Georgia, and at that time I was in a position. I was still married, and there was a gym where they had babysitting, and I was able to go to the gym and do jazzercise or whatever it was. I don't know. It was like step aerobics I was into at that time in the 90s, but I had that luxury. But now, as I had more kids and then I was on my own with them, I didn't have the money to do that. So what is an alternative? What is something that I can do with go for a walk, go to the park, go swimming? I mean, but the thing is with this, I know with kids, when you have kids, sometimes it's hard you have that dividing line of me and them. And sometimes you have to just accept that, okay, no, I have to change my mindset and include them in this, so that in this, this activity. sometimes it's okay to do it by yourself. Like, I know you want that peace, you want that tranquility of just a few moments by your, I get that. So you could do it at night, you could do it early in the morning, but also do not sleep on the fact or the idea that including them benefits all of you in so many ways. And it can be a bit of a struggle, and it can be more work because you've got to get creative, and you have to really like, but make a plan, write it down. What can I do? Like, if you know you have your 6-year-old is good to just sit and entertain themselves, but the 4-year-old's a hot mess and just running all over the place, getting into stuff. That's when you have to kind of gauge what will work for you and the kids together. Yeah. So, but if you've got 2 kids that are good to sit and watch Sesame Street or color or do puzzles or play clay or whatever, then you can do that on your own. But yeah, I think it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, true. And I think that children are like, they're blank, how do you call it? A blank
canvas, a blank
canvas. Yeah.
Canvas.
So every time that whatever you put in them, whatever you make, if you make it exciting, they would get it. You know, that kind of thing. Like they would see that. But if you make it boring, it's going to be boring, you know. And you know, the first time you said it, what did I say? I said, not me, because I'd rather be watching TV than joining you to do that stuff, you know. But again, if you make it exciting, they would join. If as long as you can even put your child. Well, the meditation thing is something that you have to shut yourself out from. But again, Mama Hicks said something about being able to get to a point where you can meditate in the presence of noise. So
yes.
It doesn't have to be that.
It takes some practice, noise. But that is ultimately what you want to be able to do.
Because I remember back in the day when I was in law school, I used to always I love to read in a place where there's absolute quiet, no noise, absence of noise. And when I got to law school, it was difficult to find that place where there was absolute where there was absolute silence and there was no noise at all. And so I had to learn to do my reading sessions in a staircase, in a bus while going home, or somewhere that there's evidently noise everywhere. But I had to train myself to do that. So yeah, it's something that is with hard work, you can get to that point where you can meditate even with the noise around, and you can shut yourself out and spend time to meditate. So I agree. I 100% with you.
And it comes down, that's what you said, it's training, and it's the routine of it. And eventually, like at first, you know, like I said, you have to find what works for you, find what works for your children. And like you said, it's training. You have to eventually, okay, well, if you can get to a point where the kids are quiet and they realize, hey, mom's going to do this yoga thing, but afterwards, if we're quiet and good, she's going to read a story to us, or, you know, she's going to make us a special healthy snack, you know. But it takes work, and you have to have some stick-to-itiveness.
Yeah. Before we today has been good because we dealt with 3 issues, and the apart from the middle one that was really very strong, the first one was equally strong but not as strong. But I wanted to say something about the very first issue that we said. Not that I'm actually revisiting it, but I just feel this nudge in me to say something about it. And it relates to people or siblings who have problems with themselves that is deeply rooted in pride. I had to say this because I am all up for, like we said while we were having this show, we're all up for forgiveness. We always preach forgiveness in this show, and we try to say, hey, whatever anybody has done to you, forgive. Okay, and sometimes these people do not reach out to you because of pride. sometimes these people would not connect with you because of pride. Now I'm talking to people who have wronged somebody else. Like that's the aspect I want to just address now. If you are the one that did something to someone that was really wrong, and you are waiting for that person to call you, yeah, that is pride. You've got to, if you did something wrong and you hurt someone so bad, you took someone's money, and then the person almost lost his house, had health issues as a result of it, went through a lot, and for his own sanity decided to stay away and keep a distance. Now, if you on your own part, you realize that, hey, what I did to this person was wrong. Do not sit down and say, hey, well, he doesn't want to talk to me. So if he wanted to talk to me, I would have, if he called me, I would have apologized. But he hasn't called me, so I'm not apologizing. And I'm like, well, that's pride. You got to take away that pride and make the move, because if you don't make the move, we have advised your brother not to make the move. So you guys are just going to continue in that situation. So sometimes you need to say,
in that case, like, kind of goes back to, I think I did mention something about finding out if your brother who wronged you has in any way, shape, or form done things over the past 4 or 5 years to elevate or correct or advance himself, in some way to improve his attitude, his behavior, his personality, and that's the thing. If he still has such a headstrong ego that he can't bring himself to pick up the phone and apologize to the brother that he hurt and wronged, then that's obviously your answer. He hasn't moved on he hasn't taken steps to correct or improve himself in any way.
Yeah, I just wanted I wanted to draw I wanted to actually talk to the brother the other one, not the one that sent the question, but the other one, and any other person who is listening to me and who is in a similar situation and who falls in the position of the other brother, not the one that sent the question, but the other one.
Yeah.
If you are in that situation where you're the one that did the wrong thing, you're the one that actually hurt somebody. If you hurt somebody and you come to a point where you realize that, hey, I did something that was wrong, I said something that was wrong, I said something that really hurt, for whatever reason you said it, but you said something that was really wrong. Now it is up to you to reach out. I'm going to give an example.
Drop the ego and the pride.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Because I remember I had a conversation with my mom, and for some reason, I don't know what happened. I just, we had this disagreement, and then I said, okay, no. And then my mom does this a lot, and it kind of gets to me. And that is when my mom does not agree with what you're saying, and you're arguing on the same thing, she just says, okay, fine, I've heard. When she says that, it means I don't want to hear anymore from you. I've heard. Let's kill this. She's not saying you're right. She's not saying she's right, but she's saying, I've heard, I want to end this matter. And me, I'm saying no. You cannot run away from this. I have to say, that whole moment where you're like, I have to say this. But she just doesn't want to go on with the conversation anymore. And I felt on that particular day that she was saying, I've heard, so she could sweep the matter under the carpet. And I didn't want it to be swept under the carpet. And so I kept hitting on it. And at some point I said, okay, if you don't want us to talk about it, then why are you calling me? In fact, don't call me anymore. I was angry. That was stupid. Right. But I just said, don't call me anymore. I don't want to hear you. I don't want anybody calling me anymore regarding this matter. If you don't want to talk about it, then don't call me anymore. I don't want to see you. I was just saying all that crap. And then I ended the call, and then I didn't feel right because of what I said. I felt that if somebody had said that to me, I would be hurt. And I knew that I had hurt my mom by what I said. But I had this ego thing, like, oh yeah, when you're thinking in your head and you're like, she said she started it. Like if she's going to if she doesn't want to talk about it, then why did she call me? That kind of thing. They shouldn't call me and be saying all that kind of stuff. That kind of, and I was just trying to defend myself and defend my stupidity. But at some point you have to put away the pride, and you have to. I called my mom and I said, oh, sorry, which is a very difficult thing to do. I don't know why, but calling your mom is it's just like your mom calling you to tell you, I'm sorry for what I did. It's always difficult apologizing to your children, but it's also difficult sometimes apologizing to your parents, because you're like, they should know that I'm sorry, kind of thing. Like you try to want to act sorry without saying you're sorry, kind of thing. So
yeah,
so I called her up.
To me.
Yeah, I called her up and yeah, that's something, because sometimes people like to act like they're sorry, like they just kind of do some good things and then they come up and like they just did something crazy and then they come up to you and say, oh, how are you? Start from, hey, I'm sorry of what I did. Then you can now say how are you?
Maybe I'm just a weirdo and I'm an anomaly, but I just really have no problem whatsoever saying I'm sorry if I do honestly make a mistake or screw up, or if I hurt somebody. I really don't. I've never, it's never been a thing for me. It's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But my problem is when there is a situation that arises where there was like, I feel like I was misunderstood or somebody hurt me and the situation hasn't been remedied in any way, I obsess over it. I go over it again and again and again and again in my mind, every which way. And I have these imaginary conversations like of what might happen, what might be said in a conversation to try to get over the situation. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, if I say this, then he's going to say this, but then, okay. And then I go over what happened. Like, okay, well, that wasn't really what happened. And I didn't mean for that to happen. And I just go over it. So that my problem is obsessing over a situation. And I've learned over time to just like I say, things are in the past. People make mistakes. You have to let them go. You can't waste your precious energy and time just going over and over and over these situations that have come and gone, or imaginary scenarios of conversations that you might have with somebody at some point. Yeah. I mean, but to say you're sorry, take the hit on the chin and okay, then do better. Say you're sorry.
You know where my own problem is? My own problem is not with saying sorry. My own problem is with saying sorry when I'm right. That's where the problem is. It's a challenge. Wait.
Why would you say you're sorry when you're right, though?
Because sometimes you just need to do that to let peace reign. Just to let peace reign. Just to let everybody kind of, because wait, you are
listen to our conversation, Zeno.
Wait.
Have you not heard our show?
But you know something sometimes, yeah. And this happens in relationships. If you I'm going to send you a link to I think it was my third show on Stereo. It was my third show on Stereo. And I was talking with a couple. I think if you go through the history, it might still be there, I don't know. But I was talking to a couple, and both of them, I actually did, I was like their therapist that day. They were both talking to me. Then Stereo did not have this 3 persons together, like you can have more people kind of thing. But so both of them were in the same house and they were having a heated argument, and somehow one of them got on Stereo. So I didn't intend to have a show with them.
That's funny. I like that.
I didn't intend to have a show with them. So I was just like, hello. And then they kept arguing among themselves. And then they're like, you see, oh, let me ask this dude. And then he asked me a question. Look, and then when he would ask me, I would answer, and then he would say, "Yeah, that's what I said, and that's what I thought." And then the girl will come up and say, "No, no, 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 no. This is my own part of the story." And they kept arguing, and then they listened to me. That's the beautiful thing about that show. They ended up listening to me, and I would listen to them, and I would, it was just a fun. It was so funny. I recommend you go see it. It was so
I will.
funny.
I'll look for that show.
It is so funny and just so cute. But the important thing is that there are times, and we talked about it in that show, there are times where, as guys, when a lady, see, there's something my dad told me about ladies. Sorry, I'm going to say that again. But for a woman, sometimes,
watch it now.
Yeah, I'm trying. That's what I'm trying. I'm trying so hard. I'm trying really hard. It's really hard. But sometimes they, if a woman says something, yeah, they always, no, sometimes, I said sometimes, yeah, they always want to be right. So sometimes you see them, they're arguing and arguing and arguing. If you can just say, okay, I'm sorry, that ends the entire conversation. That will solve the entire problem. Fighting ends, everything ends, and she's like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that." And she was wrong, but you just say it just to kind of like, okay, get to that point where the fire goes down. Because if you keep standing on your side and she still keeps standing and you're right, at the end of the day, both of you are right. But, somebody's got to yield. And that moment where I have to be the one to yield, I'm like,
Can I just interject really quickly? I know what you're saying. To appease and calm the situation, you just say, "Sorry, fine, let's get over it." Okay. But what I'm saying is, if you're in a conversation or you're in an argument and say with your mother, okay, let's just say for shits and gigs, you're talking with your mom and there's a situation and 1000% you are correct. And what she is saying is so wrong. And then you just say, "You know what, Mom, I'm sorry." Just to get over it, just to get through it. I think that's wrong.
Just to end the conversation.
But what you can do is say it without surrendering. You can say, "You know what, Mom? I can see that we're not going to see eye to eye on this situation. I understand why you're saying what you're saying. I'm just telling you that this is how I feel about it, but let's just drop the subject," without you having to apologize and always be the one to take it on the chin. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are words you can say without actually apologizing for when you're not wrong in the situation, because it's wrong for you. Then that takes on a whole different emotional situation for you, because then you are always feeling unheard, you're feeling put upon, wronged, and you don't feel like that your mom is always on you and wrong, and you always have to apologize. That's not fair, and that's hard.
It is not. That's what I say that's what I say all the time, and I agree with you 100% that it's not fair, it's not nice. However, with women, it's something I've come to understand, that if you want peace, if you want peace,
I disagree. No. Remember,
where is Zippy? Hey, Zippy is listening to me. There are guys that listen. Wait. No. Let's throw it over to the guys. There are guys that are listening to me. There's Zippy over there, and he needs to come and back me up on this. Now, he needs to say something. There are guys who are here. No. There are guys who are here and who would agree with me that sometimes with women, you just have to kind of like, okay, I'm sorry, just so that there can be peace in the house. Just say sorry and let it go.
That peace comes with a price.
True. Okay. That's why it's difficult for me.
This is where it comes. It festers over time, and it manifests itself in other ways, because you are going to build on that callus of you feeling like, oh, again, I have to say this. I'm sorry. Again, I'm not heard. Again, I'm not accepted and validated. So How
Yes.
healthy is that? Eventually, for you to say I'm sorry and to just get past it in that moment, it's causing more detriment later on in the relationship. So
Yes,
I don't
but
think that is something that is.
but it gets you. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. But it gets you the peace of mind that you need at that point.
Oh, fucking hell. Oh my God. All right. My dude Zip just sent us a voice note. Let's hear what he has
Hallelujah to that. Let's hear what Zip has to say.
Saved by the Zip.
I mean,
I hope he
I've
says
done it
me on
many
this
a
one.
time, you know.
Hallelujah.
There's a friend of mine, a fiery female that could only be made in Ireland, and I can't even pronounce that word. I can't. But anyway, fiery woman, and she literally never was wrong for the whole 7 years I knew her, and sometimes it's easier just to let people carry on like that rather than, you know, is it worth it? No one's going to dedicate their whole night to a big swinging argument. Sometimes just going to say I'm sorry, you know.
Yeah, but is it worth it? That's
Okay,
what you wait.
Hold on.
Just said you were never wrong. I call BS on that.
Hold on. You
Shenanigans.
see? No, we're going to hear Cool Little Sis because she's going to say something. But let me revel in the beauty of somebody who has just backed me up, and then a Cool Little Sis can say something that maybe would tilt towards your own side of the divide. So allow me to enjoy this. Did you hear what Zip?
Go ahead. Yeah. Feel good for the next 30 seconds because I'm about to go in. Go.
Hold on.
Play the voice note.
Hold on. Allow me to enjoy this. Do you see what ZP just said? You know, for 7 years she was with this, and she was always right. Because if not that she was always right, it's just that he had to accept that. Oh, okay, you're right. Let's just have this peace of mind today.
So for
now.
7 years, he was not true to himself. For
7 years, for 7 years, he found a way to have peace.
Okay. And is the relationship intact now? No. So.
Yeah, but at least for 7 years, he's got peace.
Nah,
instead of having chaos for 7 years.
Well, here's at the end of the day, if you can't be you and you can't express yourself freely and in a very, you know, in a good conversation, like, listen, I disagree with you, but we're saying if that person is absolutely wrong, they're in the wrong, they fucked up, and they know it, you know it, but you just say, okay, I'm sorry, and you apologize for them doing wrong to you or the relationship. No, that is so unhealthy. And it is in the moment, just for the peace in the moment. I disagree with that.
Okay, let's listen to Cool Little Sis. Yeah, listen to Cool Little Sis.
Let's hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't look like she says much. It looks like just a flat line.
No, she said something. Oh.
I don't know.
It's coming. Have some faith. No, she didn't say nothing. Okay, she's gonna send another one, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't hear that. There's nothing on that voice note. That's weird.
Yep. Okay. Anyway, but you understand, it's not healthy. I agree 100% with you that it's not healthy. Yeah.
Alrighty.
The thing is, the fact that it's not healthy, yeah, which is good, which is my own understanding, and this is why I said it was kind of difficult for me to do. But I have learned that sometimes you just need that peace of mind. That at that moment, just because if you keep going back and forth, you don't want to yield, she doesn't want to yield, you don't want to yield, she doesn't want to yield. At the end of the day, you're going to, it's just going to be chaotic.
Okay. Can I just say, we're gonna qualify this, I should say.
Somebody,
say for example,
can we make let's add this. We have someone in the last couple of minutes of our show.
I don't know.
You-
I can't see anything. My screen is your avatar, and it's not. It's something's wrong with my stereo screen. But I just want to make this real quick point. I know what you're saying about the peace of mind initially in that moment. So, for example, if you're having just natural, relationship stuff like arguments, like you keep putting your flip-flops right in the doorway and she keeps tripping over them, and you guys are like, she keeps yelling at you, I need you to not put your flip-flops here, I keep tripping over them, I'm gonna break my neck, I keep telling you and asking you, and you keep doing it, and you say, yes dear, okay, fine, I get that. But if there is a situation that comes up where she is absolutely wrong, and you just say, I'm sorry, to appease her, no. And to have peace and quiet, no, that's on you then. That relationship, no, that's on you, buddy.
I agree with you that, but when for a woman, yeah, and even for a man too. This one, I'm only just saying for a woman because I'm a man and I've had the experience with a woman. Now, there are women who have had the same experience and they had to always say sorry just so we can have some peace of mind in this house. That kind of thing. So I've had serious. So it's two ways. You can have it two ways. But I think before we continue, we have two messages, and for some reason, we have one from Coletta says, I hope it plays.
Her messages aren't playing anything. There's no words.
Yeah. I hope that it plays time. And then we have another one, and then we have someone in the house. We recognize you, and we'll listen to you in a bit. And welcome to the house.
Yes, welcome to the house of chaos.
No, it's not. Oh my God, no, it's not chaos. It's just okay. I think this one is not going to play.
No, it's not. Just
Zeno and Mama Higgs.
What's up,
I hope everything's going well. And I hope your podcast is going well.
It is.
And God bless you too, people.
Oh, blessings to you, Mama Kids. We love you. Thank you for being here.
And thank you for the support. And that's amazing. We really need to we need to do something about our timing, because we seem to have loads of people towards the end of the show.
Yes.
And at the beginning.
We'll adjust it for next week.
Yeah. So that we can actually, kind of enjoy your company for longer. Cool Little Sis, I'm eager to hear what you have to say, and it seems it's not playing for some reason.
I know, I don't understand.
And the reason it's not playing
is
and just keep trying. Don't give up. It's going to play. Meanwhile, I think the reason it's not playing is because she's supporting you. I'm kidding. I had to throw that in.
I just have to say, that was the surface of the sun burn. That was a nice one.
I just had to throw it in. I just had to throw it in.
You're wrong.
I'm kidding. But I just had to throw that in, just for the record.
See how I didn't apologize there and I called you out on it? See how that works?
Okay. Now, I'm going to make Prof P. That's what I see here. Yeah. I'm going to make her say something about this. Yeah. Do you think? Wait. Again, can you? And I'm just going to ask a random question relating to what we just said. Yeah. Are there times? But this is not going to help because she's a woman. And
don't start with that female bullshit. Just
all right. I'm going to. Okay. Okay. I'm going to just ask it. I'm just going to ask it. Okay. Now, are there times where you apologize to your spouse or to your boyfriend, or choose, just so peace can reign, to your partner, just so that you can have some peace?
I think it's more like avoiding conflict if that's the case, because you never really get to address the actual issue. So
Boom.
it's usually initiating the conversation to kind of talk through. Let's find consensus. If there's something that you're doing that irritates me, why does it irritate me? And if the person really loves me the way that they say that they do, they won't do things like that to aggravate the situation. In the same way, I wouldn't do something that would aggravate my partner. Because at the end of the day, if we're striving to love one another, we'll want to do the best for each other.
Yes.
And does that include you saying I'm sorry even when you're wrong and you know that you're right in this situation and she's wrong and you're right, and then you just say sorry so you don't aggravate your partner? Emphasis on aggravating the whole situation.
Yeah, I was taught like no one is 100% right and 100% wrong.
Boom.
So if I'm going to approach the conversation with I'm totally right, then I don't really want to reconcile. But if I'm going to humble myself and apologize or come in the conversation with I'm willing to listen and apologize so that we can both reconcile. But if there's something that I need to fix within the situation, I'll most definitely put in the effort to do that. But I think for both parties, they come in and with an apology already set in mind, because it's not really loving if you're always gonna be you're the right one, I'm the wrong one every single time. That's manipulation. That's manipulation.
Okay, you just
laughing because
you just you just at some point you were like on my side and I was like yes, and at another point you just leave me alone and then I go what, and then you come back to me and I was like yes, and then you go back to the car.
I love the way you sit on that fence, girlfriend. I love the way you straddle that fence.
But I agree. I agree with no. Funny thing is that I agree with both of you, especially. Okay, I agree with Mama. Wait, I agree. However, let's listen to the other message. Maybe I'll just get some support somewhere. Okay, kill. Oh yeah, we got the message.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. I hope the third time is a charm. I was simply stating that I had to step away for a moment, but before I did, I heard Zeno state that he has a difficult time saying sorry or apologizing when he knows he's right. And I look at apologizing the same way, I try to at least, as I do forgiveness, in that forgiveness isn't so much about the other person as it is about you. However, there are some benefits that the other person can receive. They can receive the benefit of being heard, the benefit of having someone show them compassion, and the benefit of just having someone care enough about them that they would want to apologize. So I hope this perspective is easily understood, and I hope this message goes through.
Boom. Okay.
Okay.
She just hit the nail on the head with that
Okay,
too, because you just automatically apologizing for everything robs the other person of the opportunity or the chance to see your side of things and to give them an opportunity to adjust their mindset or their thoughts and their actions, and robbing them of a chance to grow.
Yeah. Where are all the guys in the room actually?
It's a good question. It's a very good question.
Where are all the guys in the room? Because we're the one that do the apologizing most times, you know? Like, no, not that we do apologize. Wait. I don't want to make this a men and women thing, because I'm going to drown, because I have two strong women in the house. Very strong. Yeah, so I'm going to just avoid doing that. But I'm going to say that I agree with Mama Higgs and I agree with Prof P on that, you know, and especially on the fact that it helps people. You know, when you say I'm sorry all the time, it gives the other person the impression that you don't want to listen to them. You just want to end the conversation.
Be vulnerable.
Right.
Yeah. But you must also. I agree with you. Like I concede to defeat. So please don't boom me anymore.
Yeah, but why are you agreeing? Are you agreeing? Are you conceding because you actually believe what we're saying, or you just want to get out of the conversation?
No, 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 no. I'm conceding because all the guys have they've
Zip
left
just
to
send
fight
us
this
a
battle
message.
alone.
You're
I'm
about to be
kidding.
vindicated. You're
I'm
about to be
kidding, but
vindicated right here.
no. I actually agree with you. This is not because I agree with
we're
that
just
part of
kidding.
you. Yeah, I know. I agree with that part. You know me. If I'm wrong, I actually accept it.
Yeah.
I agree with that part. However, there is another part of it that you have to a bit agree with me on it. And I'm expecting the guys to back me up on this. I don't know why they're not doing this, but there are
We got a
times
message
where
from Zip pending. You might be vindicated with that one.
oh yeah, I think I want to listen to that. He backed me up the last time, and
I know he did. He's gonna
all right.
The real question is,
from me about
why
it,
are
too.
narcissists so sexy? You know, I've bumped into my life tons of narcissism. Most of them very strong-willed females who see themselves as dog fighters and stuff like that. But actually, they've just never been wrong. Not everyone. Some people can step back. But I just bump them, I distract them, and they're always the sexiest. But yeah, this isn't talking about you, Mama Higgs, before you think.
Okay.
No, I know you're
He
not
had
talking
to,
about
he had
me.
to save himself and say, "Hey, I'm not talking about you." So you don't you don't go all offensive, you know. But again, no, I'm going to disregard the narcissist thing. I'm actually going to say that some ladies, I've seen some strong-willed ladies, yeah. And we talked about this in our show last week about a woman who is strong-willed.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
2 weeks ago, yes. We talked about a woman who is strong-willed. You meet a woman who's strong-willed, and you have to get to a point where you say, okay, she's strong-willed. If you are strong-willed, somebody's got to, according to, I'm quoting Mama Higgs right now in buttressing my point. Somebody has to yield. Somebody has to yield. And that's what she said. She's here, and that's what she said last 2 weeks. That when you meet a strong-willed person, you know, two strong-willed people, somebody has to yield. Now, I get to that point where I realize that she's not going to yield, and if we keep pushing this, she's not accepting that she's wrong, and I don't want to accept that I'm wrong. We just keep fighting verbally, and so at some point you have to say, okay, all right, you're right, I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Let's get this done.
Yeah. Prof P brought up a good point though too, and as far as like the being wrong, one of you is right, one is wrong, okay? And if you're both strong-willed, that's different than always conceding because the other person is too bombastic, their personality, and you just want to get out of the situation and calm the situation. There's a difference. Like you do have to in the relationship, like she said, I think you said earlier about having the conversation, not just yielding or giving up that, you know, saying you're right, I'm wrong. When you know you're right, it's okay to stand your ground. It doesn't have to be a brawl. It doesn't have to turn out to be a fight. You have to choose your words and choose just like with kids. Like I said, if your tone is enthusiastic, they're going to get excited. But if you if you're calm and you say, listen, here's the situation, then that opens the door for conversation. Not just you can be strong-willed, but one of you has to yield, but it doesn't always have to be you, especially if you know the other person's wrong and you're right and you don't, then you're a doormat at that point.
True. I agree with you on that too. I 100% agree with you. Somebody's got to
Go ahead, Prof.
Yeah, go on, Prof.
I was thinking it's one of those things where you have to choose to fight for each other than fighting against each other in that kind of situation. Because if we're always going to aim to, I'm always right and you're always wrong, we're not necessarily breeding a healthy relationship if that's the case, because we're only striving to have one captain and the other just continually yields. And I think that's the important thing when we learn how to handle conflict situations, such as bringing up something like, hey, you left your toothbrush on the basin, or the toothpaste is squeezed from the top and not at the bottom.
Oh my God, we always use this example.
Yeah.
Wait,
And if it's
wait. Hold on. It's just like you were in our show last 2 weeks. We talked about the toothpaste, dude.
Yep. And
Yes,
like
we
I said,
did.
Prof, like get a second tube of toothpaste, problem solved. But the thing is
Simple.
like you don't have to surrender all the time, and you don't have to be the one that's always wrong just to get some peace in the relationship. Then obviously that relationship is not healthy. It's not the one for you if the other person can't let go of their ego and say that and be willing to say, oh yeah, you know what, I am wrong sometimes, and I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
have
all that it
clap-
takes.
I don't have the clap thing. I would have just pressed that a couple of times. I just
Yay.
clapped literally for that because that is very key. And I say that all the time. And that's why I have a problem. Like what started this conversation was that I said I had a problem or a challenge with apologizing when I'm right and the other person is wrong.
Wow.
But I sometimes do it just so peace can reign. But I want to believe that if whosoever I am with in the future will listen to the wise words, the very wise words of Mama Higgs, that would save me a whole lot of stress, and I wouldn't have to do the apologizing all the time. I'm telling you. But,
Hell yeah.
But,
Hell yeah.
but on the other hand, guys must understand that not just guys, anybody, when it comes to having a conversation or a conflict, there would always be conflict. It's something that is part of it. It comes with a baggage, it comes with the thing, relationship must have conflict. It must have, so it's part of the thing, but the point here is when we're trying to handle this conflict situations, there are times where two persons cannot be right at the same time. There won't be conflict. So sometimes you're like, okay, you're right and I'm right. So can we stop? Listen to the person. It's very important that you listen to the other person. It's very important. And I think that's one thing I got from both of you in this very short conversation that we had about this stuff. The importance of allowing the other person to be heard. And you cannot do that when you just want to end the conversation by saying, okay, fine, I'm sorry. It's okay. Can we go now? Kind of thing, And it each time you do that, you think you're solving the problem, but you're not. You're
It'll fester.
You're piling up. You're piling up, and one day it's going to explode. And the thing is, it's going to explode in the point that and what's going to make it explode is just one small thing. The things that actually break relationships are not the very big things. They're just the small things. Yeah, but they've been piling up over time. You think it's a toothbrush that or the toilet seat? No. That was just a trigger for something that has been piling up for the past 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 1 year, 2 years. They've been piling up, and then the day you just drop the spoon where you're supposed to drop the knife, and then there is an atomic bomb.
Zeno is dropping bars right now, ladies and gentlemen.
But it's true. It's true. And sometimes I feel like, everybody wants to be heard. That's the thing. But again, with women, God made you so special. I like the fact that he did that. Special work, good work, Lord. Very good work. But with women, you have to be patient.
I love the way you preface that before the book. Nice touch, Zeno. Nice touch.
I'm so used to Mama Higgs now. I know when she's ready to kind of like, Zeno, don't go there. You're working close to that. Don't go there.
You were so close, and then you said, "But."
So sometimes you have to be patient with them, but also you must be willing to put down your ego in dealing with them, and sometimes you need to kind of make this is what I do. Sometimes I make the suggestion look like I take her words and I use her words to I kind of like say, hey, to her, you remember the time you said we should do this? What if we did this and did that? So it will look like it is her suggestion, but it's actually my suggestion. But I'm making it look like she said something related to it, and I just kind of like added to it. So that way she cannot say no. Because
Game player.
Mama
Game
Higgs,
player.
I feel like we're being summoned right now.
Game
no,
player.
so it doesn't look like it's my idea. You cannot say no to something that you said,
But she didn't say it.
Yes, but she said something close. I have to take away. I have to find a way.
What if she does the same thing to you? What if she does the exact same thing to you? How would you feel?
But they do that all the time. You guys do that all the time.
Oh my God, you can't see me. You can't see me violently shaking my head at you right now.
I know. We are see, it's a jungle, yeah. You got to survive. You got to survive, and you got to be smart. Because one thing I know, and let me say this, I say this on this show, and I'm saying it now. I know the guys won't like me, but yeah, I'm saying this now. Ladies are smarter than men. I'm saying it now, and you know why?
That's only because you're in the soup. You better say
That's
it.
true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Since the guys refuse to back me up and get involved, yeah, I'm saying it.
Zippy's
save myself.
In his room laughing at you right now. He's just laughing his ass off.
Oh my goodness! Oh my
goodness!
Ladies are smart. And you tell me why. You ask me why, and I'll say this. And I said this to Mama Higgs a long time ago, and I'm saying it now again. When God made man, it's like when you make Apple, you make an iPhone 10, and then you decide to make an iPhone 11. Obviously, there's something in the iPhone 11 that's better than iPhone 10. You can just make the same phone. You got to upgrade. So when God made man, he decided to make the woman. He just did an upgrade, little, and that also means that as good as they are in the good things, they are also very good in the bad things.
I am going to reach through this screen and get you. I am going to get you.
I'm here to support. Support you, Mama Higgs.
But you agreed with me that you guys were smarter. Yeah, you're an upgrade on anything.
Okay. Listen. When you find yourself in a hole, Zeno, stop. All right. Number one. Number two, a lot of what has been lost and convoluted during this word salad is that if you're in a relationship and you're always conceding to somebody who is wrong all the time, that's not healthy, and that should not happen. Now, I'm not saying that you can't once in a while say, yes, dear, just so you could watch your TV show or get back to playing, Call of Duty or whatever. But if that is happening more often than not, or even if it's a relationship with a family member where you're like, all right, I'm sorry, but they're clearly in the wrong all the time, there is a serious fundamental problem with that relationship, and it will not flourish, it won't last, and it won't be healthy.
That's true. Very true. Guys, I was just playing, man, but that's real true. That's we must not I know sometimes we want to kind of laugh and do all of that, but we must kind of get back to basics, which is the basics. It's something that helps because a lot of us find ourselves in that situation, so it's good that we're hearing this, so it helps us to kind of define how we handle conflict. And to add to what she said, the lady needs to be heard, the man needs to be heard, please listen to each other. Very important.
Right.
Very, very important. All right. We've got a couple of minutes more, so we're just going to holler. And I want to thank. Oh, yeah. Somebody said something. Well, I want to thank.
His poop message.
I want to thank everybody who's been with us from the very beginning. We've handled and Prof P. Thank you very much for showing up today. And I really enjoyed your input today. And I wish you were here from the very beginning because we had three questions ended.
Prof P, we did some good talking earlier.
Oh man, I'll definitely have to subscribe so that I don't miss out on the notifications. So most definitely. Thanks for having me.
Show
every Saturday.
Yes.
We might fudge the time a little bit. We might push it back an hour, like forward an hour instead of 11:30. I think 12:30 might be better. But yes, thank you for being a co-host, and thank you for for your amazing and perfect insights.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's 8 p.m. in South Africa, so shout out from here. It was really fun to join.
In South Africa? All right, beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. and for the record,
South Africa.
Let's go.
For the records, she my co-host Mama Hig is an amazing woman. She's just got this. Yeah, I'm going to say that so you don't punch me.
I was quiet. That I wasn't.
No. On a serious note, she's an amazing woman, and together, she comes out here every Saturday to just pour out her heart to kind of on the issues, and they're really strong issues and very strong questions. And these are questions that are written and sent to us by people who read a post on Facebook, and then people who listen to this show. And I'm blessed being able to get those questions, and we are also happy being able to answer those questions and get them answered. And it's always a blessing. Always.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's listen to the message.
Which one do you want? You cheated and then you've been caught, and then the other one is someone cheated on you but never been told. Which one?
Let me try to clarify his question. Please. Is that a question or a statement? But which is better? You cheated and you were caught, or you're cheating and you've not been caught?
Neither. Situations suck.
I'm telling you, both are wrong actually. But let me hear from you.
Go ahead, Prof P. Take it.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. I mean, being cheated on kind of gets you to question, did the person genuinely love you in the first place? Because if they really did, they wouldn't do that. And if you're cheating and hiding, why don't you just tell the person to be honest with them that, listen, let's break up, instead of let me sneak behind their back and continue my shenanigans while I still have somebody on a cliffhanger. Like, save the other person heartbreak and just be honest and end the relationship instead of sneaking around and doing the wrong thing. So both situations are terrible. I mean, it really reflects something about the person's character. If they see that cheating on somebody else whilst being in a relationship is fair, it's absolutely not. Like, I think it's sad on both parties, but I think it boils back down to communication. Like, if people are truly honest and open with one another, there'd be less room for hurt. I mean, it will be sad in any case, but I think you'd value the honesty rather than somebody doing something behind your back and you having to find out, which is just as bad as this whole situation is just bad. It makes me really sad.
Agreed 1,000%. Like, if you're cheating and if you're cheating and you're not caught, it doesn't matter. You're a cheat, and it's a terrible thing to do to somebody that you're in a relationship with. keeping them on the, in the dark, and having them under the false illusion that they have a healthy, happy, loving relationship. That is such a gut punch, to find out afterwards, whether you come forward or whether, you get caught. However the situation breaks down, it's never, ever going to be, you would have more respect from your significant other if you said, look, we need to break up for whatever reason. And then you, like Prof P said, then you follow that avenue. But a lot of people do that too, because they don't have the balls to break up, and they just would rather just do it for as long as they can and not deal with the circumstances. And when the shit hits the fan, then they'll deal with it, with the,
and I think the thing that's exactly the thing that breaks, for example, a lot of families, is the secrecy behind not telling the truth, because now I feel, I can't really come open because I have a family or I have kids, or they have bigger responsibilities, so I can try to carry it out as long as possible. And if I get caught, it's like, oh, okay, cool, I'm sorry about it. But that's really not fair on all of the parties in any case. So I really just think it's really a bad thing, because people try to justify it by like, oh, you're probably not there for me, or whatever was wrong with the other person. And I think with a lot of that they break up. Like a lot of series or TV shows, kind of, you get to see the guy who's just like, I cheated on you because it's your fault. You were not there for me. You didn't support me. And you try to make it out as if it's this okay thing when it's not.
Yeah. And then can I say this? Yeah. There are times where guys have this notion that I don't know where they got it from, but they have this notion that a lady, the moment the lady sleeps with another man, there's this emotional detachment from her partner the moment she decides to go out to be with somebody else. But for guys, they can be emotionally connected with their partner and still go around, do whatever they want to do. And because of that, you see a lot of them, they tell you, I love my wife, but they tell the person they're having an affair with that they love their wives, but yet you're out there doing your thing, which is crazy, if you ask me. So those notions help those guys. They give the guys the mindset that, I can still have my wife here and go ahead, cheat. But the truth is, it's just hypocrisy and deception. Who are you deceiving? So the moment you move, the moment you decide to have somebody else, there is this emotional detachment from the person that you're with, which doesn't it's not a nice thing at all. And then two, there are certain times where there is an emotional, and it happens to every couple, there's a point where, there's an emotional detachment at some point. It may not be because you hate the person. It may just be some mood swing. It may just be some psychological whatever. But there's a moment where you just feel like, and it's the conversation that you have, is the intimacy that you have, that is sealed up and by the conversation that you're able to have with yourself. That becomes the glue that keeps you together, even when you don't feel like it. That there's this glue that keeps you together. And so I think that at that point, I've seen situations where a close friend slept with his friend's wife, and both of them were pastors, like religious. It was, but because at the time, the one of them, the guy, like, let me use A, B, C. Now A was married to B, and C is A's best friend. Now A started going out with D, or cheating with D, cheating on B with D. C and B would always complain to C and say, hey, my husband is cheating and stuff. And C was offering comfort and always there, always chatting up, always coming around, when A would go for a week or sometimes 2 without
When
coming
A
back
would
home.
go for the D.
Yeah, that kind of thing. and then it eventually happened that A and B and C now one day, when things get, when you're seeing somebody all the time and you're resorting to someone else other than your spouse for emotional comfort, there's always going to be a problem at some point, and there was. And it now became very difficult for the other one to tell the other one that, hey, this happened, and we dealt with that 2 weeks ago. But in any of these cases, it's wrong to cheat on your partner. It's irresponsible and it's wrong. And I agree with the two ladies. It's wrong on all levels.
And
Get
none
out
of
of
that
the
shit ever works out positively. It always eventually blows up.
And you will be caught. You will be
Never
caught.
think
If
you're
you
gonna
think
get
that
you're getting away with anything, because eventually you won't.
you will be caught at some point. So if you think that you're going to get away with it, you're just deceiving yourself.
Yeah.
It may, it may delay, but it will eventually happen. One day you will get caught.
Okay,
Let's
Zoinks,
listen.
let's take Scooby-Doo's voice note. Zoinks.
If like example, I love a woman, and then we broke up just because of problems, right? Something like we broke up, and then probably jealous or something like that. And just because I don't want to be sad or something like that, I just went to club, and then I met a girl, and then there's something happened, just like one night stand, and then after that there's nothing, just like sex. And after that, did I cheat there? And then
No.
me and my girl fix, and we go back. We in relationship again. Then did I cheat? Or no?
We were
But
on
when
a
I
break.
did those with other girl, we are like we separate.
He's doing the Ross Geller move. We were on a break.
Let me tell you something. He did not tell the entire story, and I'm going to help him tell the entire story. So when a guy wants to tell you a story, they tell you the story in such a way that so I'm going to kind of just straighten it out, and if I'm wrong, you can actually tell me. But this is what I think happened. They had a fight. They did not break up. They had a fight. And then like, when you have a fight, does not mean she broke up with you. You had a fight, you left the house, you went to a club, and then you did your thing because you felt like you wanted to let it out, But the fact that you did not officially break up the relationship, and the relationship has ended. You just had a fight. A fight does not translate to a relationship ending.
Right.
You just had an argument, and you picked your keys and you left in the middle of the argument, and then you go sleep with somebody else. And then come back and say, well, we broke up, and then I went to the night, and then I did that, and then I came back and we made up, and
that's him self-soothing. If that's the case, if you didn't say the words, I'm breaking up with you, we are over, and grab your shit and go, then there was no breakup. If you had a fight, you dipped out, you went to the club, you banged some bitch, and you come back home and go, oh, I'm sorry, let's make up. No, you are in the wrong. You cheated, and you do not get a pass. Do not go past go. Do not collect $200.
No justification, none whatsoever.
Right.
Yeah, because that's what I think. But if you broke up, let's look at the other way, so it doesn't look like I'm actually just hitting on the brother. But if you broke up officially, like, she comes and she tells you, I don't want to get in, I don't want this relationship anymore, and then you say, okay, let's do this and let's break up. That way, she goes, but I still think it's sexist. I had a show before I started Black and White. I had this show with a guy who was trying to convince me that having sex after breakup is the best way to get over the hurt of breaking up, and I said no. And now that and I got to that, I was able to convince him that having sex with multiple women after breakup is not or with any woman at all, is not an ideal way to heal. You really need to heal, not just like
it's like
have
add to the bottle or turning to drugs when something when you have some traumatic things those problems are still going to be there that you need to deal with, those emotional scars, those emotional problems. You're just masking it with something else. So you're masking it with alcohol, you're masking it with sex with a stranger. And the thing is like, even if you said, I'm over you, you are dropped, and she said, I don't want to see you anymore ever again either, and you left and that night had sex with another female from a club, what does that really say about you? Like, I wouldn't even want you back, even if that were the case and we were on a break, because you couldn't even wait a day.
Like when you thinking of it, the moment when you think that,
seems like he was like, yes, this is my opportunity to use this to go out and have some sex, and then use that as the excuse. Well, we were broken up and you were being a bitch.
Like you broke up with her today, and the next day she's on Instagram with some guy, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, it was just yesterday, man. I'm like, well, I moved on. Like, you've always had this in your mind for a while now.
Sure. It's questionable character, ladies and gentlemen. Character.
Very, at the least.
I agree with you, Prof. Okay, let's listen to him.
His rebuttal.
I know that I'm not good in English. And it's so very clear that when I said we separate, it means like we separate. Don't tell me that there's a relationship, like, they separated and they go back again. Is that a separation? It is, right? So I need not live like, you're talking about there's something like argument and I just live. That is different. That is not separate. You just like separate with your, as I said, separate means like, I said lately when we broke up, you know what I mean? When we broke up, I just went to just don't want to be sad because I don't want to think about it, especially when I did not do anything bad. So it happens. So, and then when we fix it, I know then, that's why I'm asking, did I cheat there or not? Because I know that there's something like a relationship, they just broke up and then they just like fix again for the second time. So if that happens, did I cheat there or not?
Oh, okay.
I know it's
I get it
wait,
now.
but
hold on.
When it happens, then what can you do? So did I cheat or not?
Okay. No.
Now we understand you.
No, I still feel like he's trying to gloss over and trying to get our blessing. It doesn't. Prof, are you with me on that? Because or Zeno, like I feel like he's using that I don't speak English so good as kind of like, listen, you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. Let me ask you, did you say to your girlfriend, we are through? Or did she say that to you? Definitively, we are broken up. Not we were separate. See, he's saying we were separated. But what does that mean? Separated by a street, a block, just you and your like that. Define separated. If you didn't say the words and in your mind you thought you were broken up, but if I question your motives and your methods because that night you didn't want to think about it, you went out and got some strange. That doesn't say a lot about your character. No offense.
All right. One thing I would say is that I'm going to. Sorry, ladies. I'm going to actually have to think like a man right now. And
please do.
I just have to, man. Because the guy needs some bit of support right now.
He needs some bro excuses.
He needs a little bit. But let's look at it. Because while he was saying the second message, I was thinking, let's assume that they actually, because the use of the word separated, that's where I have a problem. Like Mama Higgs, I agree. You can decide.
That's a red flag.
Yeah, you can decide we're not going to be. You're not seeing each other. You're angry with yourselves. You have this moment apart, but you've not officially broken up. The idea is, instead of using the word separated, just say we broke up. So if you say we broke up, yes, then even at that, if you break up and you go out on one night, whatever, you have not cheated. I know, yeah, you have not cheated. However,
Technically,
no, you have not cheated. But no, you still have not cheated technically, because
technically you have not.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. You see, I'm getting the ladies to your side right now. So yeah, you have not cheated, young man. Because
no.
But
I'm
on
not
the other
his
hand,
side. Prof P, I'm not on his side. The thing is that, let's turn it around. If his girlfriend, if she left the apartment, said we're done, went to the club, got some D, and then the next day said, "Oh, I'm sorry, let's reunite," how would he feel about that?
Ooh.
Okay.
When the tables are turned, then the volcano starts to explode.
You didn't have to go there. But
He did.
That's a strong.
And I did. I took it there. I took it there. I'll take it there again. I'll stay
Go
there.
there.
I really think that's. I mean, that the world we live in, most people would think that's the ideal thing to get okay or to cope with the situation at hand. But I think there's nothing that will ever justify the fact that even if you break up with somebody now, the first thing you do is find a substitute to try cope.
Right.
I mean, that also involves now a third party, another poor person, individual who gets now in the mix of things, who has to be left with the weight and the baggage of, listen, I wasn't looking for anything serious, so it's a one night stand and that's it. That's not okay in any situation. So there's no justification for the situation. What was needed was a timeout. Dude, go be in your headspace. Go speak to a friend. Don't go somewhere where you're going to lose all your morals or thought.
He went to speak
whatever
to
the
a friend.
case is.
But he went to speak to a friend who he just met. It's a new friend. And he met the friend and spoke with the friend. And the friend, offered some.
And then his dick fell into the friend. No, I'm not buying it.
Yeah, it's just some physical support, at that time, just to take his mind off, So, but technically, technically, I want to use the word by Mama Higgs now. Technically, he did not cheat, did he?
Well, we don't have, Prof, do we have 1,000% confirmation that the words...
We do not. We're basing on an assumption of the situation based on the word separation, which we don't fully understand what he means, is very difficult. Because if he said, we broke up, then he wouldn't need to use the word cheated. He would have just said, I moved on. I found somebody else. But if he still uses the word, I would just, clarity is needed.
Clarify. Did you break up? Stop using the word separated. Did you break up? Up.
What were the words that were used? What were your words? Say them to us.
Okay.
Tell us the whole story. I mean, there's always two sides of a coin. And we don't know the whole story. So based on our assumptions and presumptions and the misunderstanding of the word separation.
And while you're answering that question, can you please tell us who actually went to who? Did you go back to her or she came back to you?
Well, that's a good question. He's got 3 voice notes. Maybe he clarifies in these next 3 voice notes. I hope so.
Get the full story.
Let's listen to the story.
I think I got the answer. Because what I'm thinking right now is like, what if the girl did that one to you? That's supposed to be question to me. Then, is it cheating? I don't know the answer. So I'm asking, but there's about men and there's a different there's different pride, because I don't know, like men something like, if they know that the girl something like do something with other guy, like it differ from a girl. If we did something like that, like If that is cheating,
Ooh,
how,
no.
if that will happen, then I just noticed that she did it, then it's something like, why are you complaining? Are we on the time? And then what if she gonna tell me that one, then no, or then no. I don't know what to think, but if you can ask me, it's not good. If the
You
girl
do
was-
know. Stop. Let's not play the next voice note yet. Let's break that down.
Yeah.
Let's break that
Yeah.
down. I spilled my coffee listening to his voice note. It's all over my floor and my kitchen table because I got so excited. If you listen to that voice note, and he said, that's interesting. You asked the question to me. If my girl went and did that, do you notice how much he laughed, and said, I can't answer that. No, you can answer it. You don't want to. He said, and then if you listen really closely, he says, well, no, it's different from a girl. No, bitch, it's not. No, it's not.
Mama Higgs, he just confirmed what I said earlier about, when I said that guys actually think that men and women vibe differently, especially when it relates to having an affair or sleeping with someone else. Prof P, like I was saying at the time, I said, if a woman decides to sleep with a man, the moment he decides to sleep with another man other than her partner, there's got to be an emotional detachment from the partner for that to happen. So a woman, that's what I was saying at the time, that a woman cannot move to another partner and still have unflinching emotional connection with the partner. But for the man thinks that, oh, I can still love my wife and still sleep with anybody I want to sleep with, and it won't affect my emotional connection with my wife or my partner or the person I'm sleeping with or I'm in a relationship with. And I was saying that's a wrong stereotype and that's a wrong way of thinking, but that's what a lot of guys think. And he just kind of like confirmed it, because he said like it's different from a man and a woman. And that is to say that for a man, it doesn't really mean nothing or anything. And then for a woman, it will mean a lot, Did you get that from what he said?
Most definitely did. So now my question for you, would be, how do you reconcile that kind of situation to help the man think differently towards that assumption?
Yeah, for me, it is. We think, like, I'm a man, so I know what it is. I've never cheated though, but I have had a conversation. I've had several conversations. I was writing a book. I'm actually working on a book titled "Tell Her About Us," and
let's go. Woo!
Yeah, and it's about men and how difficult it is for men to express their feelings and to express the way, because men are a product of experience, so they don't think in the same and they don't vibe in the same way as women vibe. Especially when matters of emotions are concerned. I have seen, that's why I tell women who are hanging around married men, and they think that the man is going to drive the wife away and install them as the new wife. And so they're always like, and the men will tell you, oh, I have a wife, but we're having problems at the moment, and I'm trying to sort out the divorce thingy. And so he's saying that because he's giving you a lot of hope that you're going to get into the relationship and he's going to get married to you, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, that thing strings on for a long time, and you realize that he's not even making any effort. It's all lies, because he's still very much interested in his wife. He would not leave his wife for you. You get what I'm saying? So, to your question, how do men understand? Men should just realize that everything they do to someone, and this is not just men, but I think men should understand this, that anything you do to someone, and or anything that someone does to you, and it's not right, you don't like it, don't do it to somebody else, because the way you feel when someone does it to you, that's the way the person would feel if you do it to the person. And that's the way I would always tell guys, whatever you want to receive, whatever emotions that you want to receive, whatever you want done to you, do the same thing to somebody else. If somebody's gonna do it to you,
that's the golden rule.
Yeah, if somebody's gonna do it to you and it's going to hurt you, then know that the other person is going to get the same hurt or feel the same way if you did it to that person.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way I would handle it.
Well, all right. Can we just agree? Do you understand my point about him laughing at
Yes,
my
yes,
question?
yes,
See, that
yes.
seems to me to be nervous laughter, because he knows what the answer is, but he doesn't want to admit it to us, or maybe to even himself, because then he would have to accept some personal responsibility for it.
True.
I would like to listen to the other couple of voice notes, but really,
Yeah.
when we play them, really listen and see if you're getting what I'm getting, because I think he's going to go further into detail with it.
Okay.
I'm going to tell it again. Lately, when I said separate, it means that we broke up. I said we broke up. That's why when I said also, like, I mean, when we there's an argument and then I separate, and that is different, because you just like separate, which is like, I mean, you just go like to make it fun, and then that is different. That's not separation. That is not broke up, because you cannot even tell that. I mean, are you married to tell it's separate? I mean, let's say she's my girlfriend, right? And then I just visited her, and and then we argued, and I just separate because I don't want to hear something, and that's not separation, you know that. And yeah, I'm talking about when we broke up. I said I will tell again, when we broke up. Let's say a day we broke up, in the night I just go there, and then there's something happen, and then a week we fix it and go back again, because we feel like we're gonna fix it. Then that's it. Did I cheat or no?
Okay, just before we go to his next voice note, also, it's concerning to me that he has to ask over and over again if he did cheat. He's asking us, did I cheat? Did I cheat or no? Because you are asking us over and over again, you are explaining the situation, but giving us just the same bits and pieces over and over again. And then asking, you're not going to get us, from me anyway, you're not going to get absolved. I'm not going to absolve you. I feel that, yes, what you did maybe wasn't technically cheating, because you did say again, well, we separated because I didn't want to hear what she was saying. I heard him say that. And then he says, but we did break up. So he's kind of convoluted with his not being very forthcoming with his answer. It's very convoluted, very ambiguous. But what I'm getting from it again is the lack of sincerity in it. I don't know. Do you understand what I'm saying about that, Prof P?
Prof P.
Yeah, it sounds to me, or I'm picking more up on it's a toxic relationship. It's on and off, on and off, on and off. Find another friend, come back together again, on and off. Like, it's indecisive, or it's not really clear. Because I think my question was more of, if you're certain that you broke up with the person and you're moving on, you would know that you're not cheating on them because you're no longer with them anymore. But if you know for a fact that you're going to be returning to them, or the relationship is still there, or that connection is still there in some shape form, then I think it's more of a guilt question. Because if you keep on feeling the fact that you cheated on her, then perhaps you did.
And the feeling I'm getting, is the feeling when let's assume I and Prof P we're in a relationship, and then we have this argument, and then you ask me, are you tired of this relationship? And then I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, then let's end it. If you're tired, then let's let this go. And then you walk away angrily, and then I walk away, and like we're angry with each other, and then we said something, but we did not really break up the relationship because he said that same night they broke up, and that same night he went to the club and picked up someone. Same night, and then they made up a week after. Like, I don't know. Let's listen to the next message and try to kind of unravel what he really wants to tell us.
Next question. Which one do you want? Let's say, I know maybe you guys gonna tell me like none of the above, but if ever like you want to have a relationship, let's say relationship, there's something like there's a woman you like or there's a guy you like, but he doesn't or she doesn't like you or love you back, right? And then there's other girl who likes you and love you, but you don't love them or like him back. Which one you going to choose? Because we're talking about chances. Like if you show love with this woman that they don't love you, there's a chances that it changes. It will be she'll love you back. And also the other one, if this you allow this woman or guy to show the love for you, then maybe chances you will fall in love with this person. So I just want to know, which one do you want? A person who loves you but you don't love them back, or the person you love but they don't love you back?
Interesting that he's choosing to change the subject. So
I just heard a cat.
that's my cat. That's my cat.
Yeah. Let's let him, because he's I feel him.
Let's
so,
let him off the hook. Let him off the hook.
Yeah. Let's
We can let him rest. We'll come
let's
back
let him
later.
rest. but
We'll
but
take
that
a
question,
break.
that question is interesting because it's life generally. So it's not, there is no, is the irony of the emotional interaction that happens in life generally. Everybody has been at some point in that situation where you like someone that never liked you back, or and in that same moment or that same time you have someone else who likes you so much but you don't like. And then it's there is no choice to be made, to be honest. Prof B, what do you think? There's no choice to be made. Because
I think, there's a movie about this actually, which is quite funny. I forgot the title of the movie, where there's this popular girl, and then this chubby guy who liked her, but she liked the popular guy. And then a couple of years later, when he became like the hot guy, it's like the roles were reversed. So I do get what you mean by it's a general thing. Like somebody will like you, but you won't necessarily like them. And somebody who's unavailable, you'll kind of be attracted to like them, which is really just an interesting thing. But I think the conclusion of everything is that whatever choice or decision you make, you will be blessed with the consequences of it. So at the end of the day, it comes back down to, it's not a thing of, I will love the person who loves me 10 times more because they love me more. Like it shouldn't be a thing of, I will choose you because I know I can't doubt the fact that you will leave me because you love me. That's manipulation yet again. But if we're going to jump into the topic of love, love is a choice. You choose to love the person you want to love, not because of what they offer, but because you are full of love. So you give it to them without them having to deserve it, if that makes sense. So it's communication yet again, and you work at it.
And true.
Or you could go by the Todd Rundgren song, if you can't be with one you love the one you're with.
Yeah.
Let's go, girl.
Exactly. I like that. That's really cool. But because the truth is, let me be very frank with you. Yeah. There are people that you never liked. Have you ever, I have seen this happen over and over again, especially there was this girl I was counseling, this lady I was counseling at the time. And you're like, she was with this guy and she didn't like the guy. He wasn't a hot type. But they kept seeing themselves every time. Like they kept going out, they kept hanging out, they kept, like they were students. So they kept being in each other's company a lot. And sooner than later, they were always together. And then the whole, I don't like him, it's not my type, became like, well, he's okay, but I can see myself dating him though. But he's a nice guy, really nice guy as a friend. And then after a while, it became like, oh, he's not really as bad as I thought, And And after a while, it was like, well, they were both in love, and then they kind of like ended up being together. So when you're with someone all the time and you're getting to understand the person and you're getting to spend more time with the person and you're getting to focus more on needs, like we said earlier on, rather than on wants, you end up realizing that there are some basic things, some basic foundational things that goes to the core of a relationship that this guy possess. Even though he's not the perfect man that you created and built up in your mind, but that he's the kind of guy that will be there long term and would be that possesses this basic core functional traits that you need in a man. And you end up just realizing that he's take away the fact that he's short and the fact that he doesn't have this I had to say that take away the fact that he's all of that, and he's still an amazing person. And then
also just as plain as just simple, what life is, a wild, wacky, insane, wild ride. Like it's got twists and turns and we've all heard stories of people that have gotten together. There are couples that are happy couples that are like, oh man, I was in love with her the first moment I saw her. And then she was like, yeah, but I didn't like him. He kept asking me out. And I didn't want to have anything to do with him. And then finally he wore me down and I decided to go out with him. And then we fell in love. So, I mean, there are all kinds of stories. There are 1,000 stories in the big city. But the thing is that it's typical, like, where life is like that. It's funny and cosmically funny, sometimes very unnerving and hurtful, where you love somebody so much and they couldn't give a shit about you. But then this other person is just wants to be with you so bad and you're just like, ew.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that got me. I relate.
Very true. Very true. And you're like, yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Right.
But one thing I must say before we listen to the next message, one thing I must say is that do not keep knocking on a door that it's evidently clear it's not going to get opened.
Let's go. Dropping bars.
True, man. You're knocking on that door every day, and you're 100%
the crazy stalker. Because then you're the crazy stalker, and then there's going to be courts involved.
You're doing all of that, and she would not, and then you keep knocking and hoping that one day she'll change her mind. If a girl says no is no. Just move on. Find someone that
able to take no for an answer and know that it's, and just pick yourself back up and get back in the game.
Exactly.
And life is not a movie or a series. It's not cute when it happens in real life. Like it's really creepy. It's not cute. Not at all.
That is very true. In fact, that's a key word for today. It's not cute in real life. Really.
It's not cute. Crazy. It's hard to shake crazy. It's really hard to shake crazy once you got crazy on your pants.
But do you know what? It's not cute in real life except she is Mama Higgs. She's really cute in real life.
Let's go, Mama Higgs.
What?
Yeah. Next message. Okay, that was weird. That was very.
It's not cute in real life.
That was not cute on any level.
That was not cute in real life.
My question is just because what I'm thinking about relationship. If a partner, I didn't do this one. I just like ask a question because I want to know if there is something like you're in a relationship, right, and then you sex with other person, then is cheating, and then they will say, oh, you don't love your partner, and then why you did the one sex with another, and then he comes like when we separate, and then you did something that, and then when you say I didn't cheat on that, so can I tell you did I love the girl? When you said, I don't know how you cannot answer a person who broke up example, we separate, and then I did sex with other woman, and then after that we fix it. So my point is, do I love? If you're gonna ask me like, I mean, do I love you or not? You will tell me. I don't know what do you expect? What do you think? Compared to relationship and not relationship, we just like separate and they did the.
Now I have to help this brother out, and this is please, every one of you.
Just give him the answer he wants, so he can just get.
I need. I need to help this brother out because I sense that he's in a fix at the moment because he told the girlfriend about what happened, and so every time that they have a problem, the girlfriend was like, "You that cheated on me," and he's like, "Well, I didn't cheat on you because technically we were not together when I did that," you know, and that has been
Yeah.
He needs to kind of convince himself at the moment that at that time that he wasn't cheating, even though I agree. Now, this is what I'm going to tell you, bro, from a brother to another brother. Yeah, you did not cheat when you slept with that woman after you broke up. However, it was something that it was something you shouldn't have done because you don't have a fight, a breakup, and then the next you're jumping in bed that same night with somebody else. That's something that's not, but to give yourself not justification, to give yourself a little bit of, for what you did. You did not cheat, but you did not do a very good thing. But you did not cheat.
Can I ask something to the other girl in the room? If
Yeah.
For example, if this guy, if they had the argument, he left and he went to the library, right? And then he went to the library and had sex with a girl, then I might give him a pass. But that he went to a club, it just says to me like he set out to search for something, to, like he said, he didn't want to have to think about, he wanted to get over the situation because he didn't want to deal with it emotionally, so he had some sex. And that's the problem for me, is like he knew what he was doing when he was going there, and it was so close to, it was that same night. If you want to feel better about yourself, bro, listen, just chalk it up. You did it. It's in the past. Get over it. If you're going to keep the relationship, then work on it. And to be a good relationship, talk and have the lines of communication open and just take it on the chin. This happened and move forward. But if you're going to constantly wonder about what your actions were, if they were honorable, dishonorable, cheating, not cheating, then maybe you should cut these ties and start over again with somebody else and start fresh with a new relationship, and then learn from what you did.
Yeah, I think that's a very safe way to answer that. Bro, I tried. But
you did. It was a valiant effort.
I'm just saving the fire because I'm like, oh, I really desperately want to say stuff, but I'm like,
No, it's black and white. You can say it. I trust Mama Higgs. She says it in black and white, man. Take it.
It's really like that. I'm just like, it doesn't matter what the situation was, the way it was handled was not the right way, unless if it came from a pattern and they used to breaking up and doing that thing, or when they do break up, he goes to the club. That's where he finds comfort. So out of habit, that's exactly the thing that you either continue to do, which is not a healthy habit either way of handling fights or conflict between one another. And I think this always brings back to the point of, it's important in relationships to have accountability partners, so that when things like this happen, you go to your accountability partner who will help you through it, instead of, let me go draw in somebody else and get them in the mix and they get hurt. And now if it's going to be a continuous thing, they're going to be the person you always go to. That's now part of this whole entire circle. Because imagine this now. that cool, they get back together, and now there's this third friend who's the club friend, and then they break up again, and then club friend becomes like, hey, I just want to invite you back into the circle, so now I get to hurt you even more and the other person. It's not healthy. It's toxic. That's just what it is. Cheating is toxic. I mean, I'm not going to blame you because, I mean, we all think differently or handle situations differently. But I think, like, going forward, it would really be important to have the conversation, especially with your partner, in building trust, and seeing where it goes. And if the trust is just broken so bad that you can't really reconcile, I think it would be important, like Mama Higgs said, like to really either take a genuine break or really break up for the sake of the healthiness of the people. Take the time to go heal. I think that's an important thing. Take the time, go heal, figure out the patterns and the bad behaviors. And if you genuinely love this girl and you want to be with her, you'll work through the stuff. Like, you'll work through it. And if she feels the same way I said, you'll fight for each other, then against each other, to avoid situations like this from happening. But in regards to did you cheat or not, if you feel the conviction in your heart that you cheated, you did.
Yeah,
ask for forgiveness, and if she forgives you,
asking,
then you
he's
move
got a
on.
guilty conscience, which is glaringly obvious. But at some point, you have to just take it on the chin and be like, all right, I did this action. This
Take
is what
responsibility.
I did. Take
Yeah.
responsibility for it. If it's important to stay in there, if that relationship is that important to you and you love her and she loves you and you're both, like you said, Prof, we're willing to work through it together, then learn from that. Don't continually fall back in that pattern of bad behavior. Learn from it. Do better. Do better. Do better.
Do better.
Do better.
He had it the first time. Just don't kill the guy.
Just, for fuck's sake, just do better, people.
All right. The reason I know someone has been trying to join. The reason we can add another person is because we're really out of time, and we're just trying to get the last two. We started since about 4:30, so we're supposed to end at about 8. Or 8:30 maximum, so Mama Higgs can go do what she does on a Saturday, and Prof P can go do what she does on Saturday. So that's why we're not. I really apologize because someone has been trying to join and I've not been able to get you on board because we decided that towards the end of the show we can have it. This happen, but if we join somebody else, we may probably just out into the night.
Well, Zeno and I decided, like, for our show, once Asterio did this update, that we would only add one additional co-host to our show towards the end of the show. And Prof P, you were the lucky gal.
Yay!
You drew the short end of the straw, you poor thing.
Yeah, and the one thing that we do is that we list when someone is involved in the conversation is a key. But when I saw Prof P, I said to myself, and myself said, and then I said, do we let her in? And then myself said, yeah, try. And then
a beautiful addition she was.
She'd been amazing. So we're going to take the last 3 questions, the last 3 notes, and then we'll run through the last 3 notes. And it's been great today. And we really need to consider changing the time because a lot of people troop in towards the end of the show, and it makes me like
an hour, like 12:30 my time, 5:30 your time.
Yeah.
I think would be
cool.
better.
Cool.
Let's get these voice notes.
Yes.
Who you're talking about, is that a Filipino, something like that? It's a Filipino movie. I think I know that. I think my mom watched that movie. I don't know. She told me. But yeah, I think that this is some movie. No. I forgot.
Brotherly, it is a movie, and it's in real life too. Just not as cute as it is in the movie.
Not cute in real life.
Yeah, not cute in real life, but yeah.
Information that thing, it never happened. I did anything, and I didn't cheat it. I just want to know, because sometimes I ask questions like that I cannot ask to other person because they might thinking something what. So yeah, maybe you guys thinking if I didn't did it, then maybe I will do it, but no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm still like, no, it's not good. It's just like a question. I just want to know. Cause I'm thinking like, why you want to know? But I'll tell you, I just want to know. That's all. Nothing less, nothing more.
Okay,
Asked
okay,
and, asked and answered.
okay. You got the answer. So let's do this.
Oh my gosh, my last question is supposed to. I tell you, my grandpa. My grandpa cheated on my grandma, and then when my grandma asked like, why is she? Then he said like, don't worry, I did that one. I know it's my fault and it's bad, but my heart is only you. My grandpa said that, and then my grandma just like accept it. I was thinking like it's stupid. Like I mean, like I'm thinking about the love. Okay, the heart is yours. But that's funny.
See?
I want to say
See,
thank you.
see,
I
see?
appreciate you guys.
See?
Wait, 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 wait. Let me just wrap this up.
It's something I want to give a tip, but I'm not gonna give all because you guys three, and then I don't know. Maybe next time, but yeah, thank you. I appreciate guys. I appreciate guys.
Oh, you're welcome. No, for real. Thank you for opening up, and thank you for sharing with us, Scooby Doo.
Mhm.
And we're not, I know I say some little bit of off color things and some silly things sometimes just to lighten the mood, but I know, these are real issues to real people, and but the thing is that what concerned me in that third voice note was that he said that his grandpa cheated on his grandmother, and that he said, "Don't worry about it. My heart is with you." And she accepted that. So see, he's already seen that pattern play out in his own family. So I think that was
Yeah.
important to point out.
And it was important to point out because of what I said. I was explaining to you and Prof B earlier on about how men see cheating. When men
Right.
cheat, they say to themselves, "My heart is with my girlfriend, or my partner, or my spouse, or my wife. I'm just doing this. This is
Yeah,
nothing.
it's
This
not
is
love,
just
it's just sex.
yeah, it's just sex. It's just physical exercise. My heart is still with, and that's the justification that they have for cheating. To be honest, and he just brought it up again. It was exactly what I was trying to explain. Why they do, and that's why they cannot take, because they think now why they think that way. They also think on the flip side that the moment the woman decides to do the same thing that they are doing, that the woman, because of the way a woman is made, in quote, it's not me saying it, that's what they think, that because of the way the woman is structured, her emotional structure does not permit her to keep her love with the man while going out to sleep with somebody else. So while they think they can do it, they think the woman does not do it the same way. So they get really upset when a woman goes out to cheat with on them with somebody else, and expect that the woman should be chill about their own cheating. Because I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, Prof, go ahead.
I think for me, it's just reminding of a historical context type of thing, of like looking back to history or dating back to history. You'd see that women didn't necessarily have much rights or leeway in the sense of, I can really leave this man if he does this kind of thing or this kind of behavior. I'm stuck here. I don't necessarily have a job, or I can't necessarily go work, and all of those things. So historically, it's kind of I'm seeing the silver lining thing of a behavior that's the way if he sees it through his grandparents, he anticipates that that's exactly the same thing. But now you encounter a strong-willed woman, and then you don't know how to necessarily behave, because certain behaviors are not acceptable when somebody knows self or is able to do things on their own. So then it brings back to a whole lot of other conversations, or speaking to masculinity and all of those things. But I think for me, the one thing that just listening through this to this context, it's highlighting that specific thing of historically this is what it used to look like, and our behavior based on that looks as though we're adapting into that. But I mean, we're changing. The world is changing. There's more opportunity, so it looks completely different. And now the question would more be like, how well versed are we with handling situations like that? The only thing that educates us with handling situations is social media or television or series, but that's not always the most healthiest way to handle situations like this. So I think, especially like with mediums that have conversations such as this podcast, we're able to highlight certain things that in our own lives or in our own grandparents' life, that we can see that, wow, okay, I think this habit or this pattern comes like this, and this is why I think this way, but it's not necessarily the right way to think about it or the right way to handle the situation.
True. And I hope that our young men would learn to put on the table. Oh, I'll put it in a better way. I hope that our young men would learn to serve someone else with the same plate that they have been served. What that means is that if you want to get love, serve with the plate of love. Like serve love, and you will receive love in return. Serve trust, and you receive trust in return. When you don't want to be cheated on, and you think it's going to really hurt you, don't cheat, because that's you get what I'm saying. Whatever you want to get, the plate in which you want to be served with, serve with that plate, and the whole world would be a better place if we do that.
Well, we're bringing back to the golden rule: treat others the way you want to be treated. But I also think that Prof. P brought up a very important point about historically and throughout the centuries, like the way that a woman is viewed in her roles, her gender roles, like always being subservient and being the one that carries life and the glue that holds families together, and to be quiet and to just cook and clean and bake and not really just be in the background taking care of life, while men are out there being virile and strong and spreading their seed everywhere. And that is like where we've come into this antiquated, notion of these gender roles and who can, who is less to blame in a situation as far as cheating than the other, or who can get away with it. Like men can get away with it because it's not emotional for us. It's just sex. It's not love. But if a woman does it, oh my God, that's egregious. How you discuss, you're a whore. You're nothing. You ought to know better. Like, yeah, absolutely. Very, very good point.
Good and I want to up here today. True. And I want to wrap, and I want to agree with you, Mama Higgs, and I think wrap the show up with something that happened in the Bible. I know I don't like talking about religious stuff as much on this show because of the different religious perspective and people from different religions. But I just want to take a story from the Bible to illustrate what Mama Higgs just said, which is very key. There was a woman who was an adult who was pursued by a lot of men, and they were saying, "Hey, this person is an adulterer. This person had actually slept with a man," and they wanted to stone the woman. And then the woman ran to the feet of Jesus, and Jesus was, writing something on the sand. And then he looked up and then he said, "What's happening?" And then they said, "Oh, this woman committed adultery." And then Jesus said to them, "The person who has not committed any sin should cast the first stone." And he began to do his thing, like right on the sand. And then he looked up, and the woman was still there. And then he asked the woman, "Where are your accusers?" And they're like, "They're all gone." That story tells me, when you're trying to tell someone, accuse a woman and of doing something that you do, oh no, that's not it.
Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror.
Yeah. Once you point your finger at the woman, all the three fingers are pointing at you. So when you're trying to say, "Hey, you're this, you're that," look at yourself. Are you doing the same thing? Are you doing the same thing that you expect from a woman or from a man? Irrespective of whether you're a man or a woman. But we're talking about women today because the society had put them in a box. And thank
Yes.
God for what's happening now and how a lot of women are teaching their daughters to stand up for themselves, to change the narrative. And I really thank God for Mama Hicks, and I thank God for you, Prof P. I listen to you talk, and I think that you have the same mindset. And women who are coming out to say, hey, we are human beings. We are as good as anybody else. We are, and teaching your daughters to do the same. And so, we can get to a world where everybody will be treated the same, irrespective of whether you're a man or a woman or whatever you are.
Right.
You will be treated equally and the same. Thank you very much, Mama Higgs. Thank you very much, Prof B. Thank you very much for everyone who's been with us from the very beginning and up until now. It's been amazing. Thank you both. Thank you, Scooby Doo, for your questions and for interacting with us. It's been real good. Thank you, Zippy. Zippy has been with us from the very beginning. Thank you so much.
My buddy Zip. Thanks, Zippy.
Thank you so much. And all the 62 listeners, thank you. We really appreciate you. Mama Hicks, you want to say something before we go? And Prof B?
Prof P, would you like to say something?
Yeah, just want to say
Yeah,
thank
go
you
ahead.
for letting me in for the first time in studio. So it's really been incredible. Yeah, it's 9 p.m. in South Africa, so represent. And thank you so much for everyone listening. And really, I think like just to agree with Zeno, the heart is really just to highlight certain things and take what you want, keep what you have to. But at the end of the heart remains is that we want to grow together and be healthy together, and that's the most important thing. So yeah. That's really cool.
Yes,
Hope to
I
see
want to
you
say thank you,
Saturday.
Prof P, for joining us today, because your perspectives and your thoughts were just very spot on, and we really appreciate you taking the time, especially since it's so late for you there in South Africa, representing your country well there.
Go.
Yes, and your continent, I should say, because I don't know what country you're in. But yes, and thank you so much for joining us and for speaking up and for joining us. And it was fun. It was, and actually, I agreed with you 1,000% on everything. You and I are cut from the same cloth, sister. But
Yes.
as always, like, it is such a joy and such an honor to do this show with you every Saturday. And I thank you for trusting me, with the questions and your listeners and your followers, thoughts and ideas. And it's helped me a lot. And I hope that I said something today that was able to help somebody else. So yeah,